a music anthem of the day, I need to test out how good you are at music first of all. So this row, like this column, you're almost full. You have more people compared to other people. So what I do is I give you a tune, and you have to sing that tune after me. Ready? So just take out your hands like this, both hands like this, and you have to dance also with the tune. You have to do chuck, boom, boom, chuck, boom, boom, chuck, boom, boom, chuck. Got it? On the count of three. 1, 2, 3, go! There are around 500 people here. No one sings chuck, boom, boom. Remember your childhood days. Once again, ready? 1, 2, 3, go! Perfect. Good job, good job. This row, this column, you remind me of good, fun Bollywood movies where people are sitting on a beach. So, and we'll teach you a tune which resonates with that tune, okay? So sing after me. La la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Lovely. Now we'll sing the whole tune which goes like la la. La 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 la. La 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 la. 1, 2, 3, go! Yeah, great job. Good job. Now this column, you look like very stern people, full of attitude. Do you know Shatrughan Sinha, Bollywood actor? Heard of him? So do you know his very famous dialogue? Any idea? So he has a very famous dialogue known as Khamosh. Okay, so when I say 1, 2, 3, you do his action which is and say Khamosh. Ready? On 3. 1, 2, 3, go! Lovely. You do this by pointing towards these both rows. Okay. Ready? Are we ready? So whenever I point at you, you start your own part. Ready? So we'll begin with you, column. 1, 2, 3, and go. Keep going. Roll short. And go. And once again. And go. Keep going together. And go. Great job. Very energetic to say Khamosh all the time. But don't go Khamosh for the next section, which is going to be our anthem now. So, do you have the lyrics with you? With some people are using as fans. They have lyrics, please don't do that. Do you have the lyrics? We have them on the screen also. We display the lyrics on the screen. Okay, so what we do is, now these are the lyrics of a song that we play together. We play a background music, and on top of that music, we sing these lyrics. So first I'll teach you line by line how to sing these. Are you ready? Do you have the lyrics? Can you see it on the screen as well? People at the back visible? Lovely. So repeat every line after me. Okay? So sing it like this. Swecha, our voices unite. Lovely. In innovation's dance, we find our might. AI is here to create new strides. With AI for society, we ignite. Hand in hand with hearts so true. Swecha's path is clear and new. Together we stand in all that we do. For a future that's bright for me and you. Swecha, oh Swecha, let's go from me to we. Swecha, oh Swecha, the whole world will see. Lovely job, everyone. Round of applause. You deserve it. That's a good response, I have to say. Now, for any good song, there is always a very catchy tune behind it. So, I'll teach you the tune, just hum it after me. Okay, so it goes like ho 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 la 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 la. in rhythm. Together, okay? As we start in the song. 1, 2, 3, go! Yeah, lovely. Now this tune we sing whenever there is a gap in the song, I tell you. So is the music ready? Music ready? So we practice once with the music, okay? Ready? So let's play the music. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go! Swecha, always in tonight. Swecha, always in tonight. Innovation chance, we find our mind. AI is here to create new strides. We care for society, reignite. Hand in hand with House of Truth. Swecha's path is clear and new. Together we stand in all that we do. The future is bright for me and you. Here we go, Swecha, oh Swecha, let's go from we to we. Swecha, oh Swecha, the whole world will see. Lovely job, let's rewind the music and sing it right. Understood? Understood? But now I will not sing, so you just keep singing. Got it? Got it? Yeah? So start singing when I say 1, 2, 3, keep repeating the line. Don't repeat after me, just sing. Okay. Music ready? Let's play once again. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, go! Hey everyone, I think you deserve a round of applause for this again. You really deserve a round of applause. And now's the time for the final take, final one. But for that, I will not be alone. So Praveen, can we have the concerned people on stage?
May I request the Swecha Executive Committee and the AAD's preparatory team, the organizing team behind this, and the speakers who are today, can you please get onto the stage? Can you all please, Swecha Executive Committee, the preparatory committee, please come onto the stage. Gaurav sir, everybody else, Sarah, Anand, please come onto the stage. All of us, preparatory committee, can you please come onto the stage? You know who you are. Gaurav sir, can you please? Sunil Abram, can please come on. Yes. Raj Garu, please. Run. Yeah. Come. I know Raj is also here. Raj Garu is coming in. Sai Garu is also here. Check. Yes, coming. Gordon sir, please. The Swecha Executive Committee, I don't need to remind your names. Yeah. All the speakers as well, this is our event, right? Let's all please come over here. Supriti ma'am, Rajni ma'am, Patna ma'am, please, Rajni ma'am.
Check, 1, 2, 3.
Rajni ma'am. Yeah. Swecha Executive Committee and the speakers, everybody, the preparatory committee. I see a lot of us are still not here. I know a lot of us are still working. Just take one more minute to see.
Can we have sound for yellow mic, please?
Yeah, Biswajit, come. Ranjit, come on here. Where are the others? Check. Where are Naveen, Siva? Okay, sir. Check. Narendra, 1, 2, 3. Check. Everybody, please. Kumar. Super Bloom, very Super Bloom. Yeah, please. Apne Aruna, Vani, please. Usha ma'am, if you can please come over. Check. No? Check. Okay. Please. Super Bloom, please come over. Sounding a good coffee, please. Let's all group together. We need to turn. Unless some of us have really good memory. Sripat, please come. Sripat, come. Vijay, sir? We'll have sir too, sort of thing. Yeah. I mean, I know the lyrics, I don't need to turn back. No, I don't. All right, let's start. Kumar, please come on. Anybody else, left out, preparatory committee, executive committee, please do join us. Bhavneet, yes sir, over to you again. Ready? Let's all come closer. Some of us come closer. Okay. This is like the happy birthday song. I don't need to know the lyrics. I need to know the lyrics.
Okay, are we ready? Lovely. What about people there? Are you ready? Lovely. So one last final take for Swecha, and is the music ready? So let's have the music on the count of 3. Yeah. We start on 3. We start clapping also. Lovely.
Everybody just wait here. Everybody, let's all come close. Everybody, let's come close. We will just give the mics to everybody over here. So a lot of people were asking us, what is the inaugural? How do we do the inaugural? Who is inaugurating? Who is giving the inaugural speech? Who is going to declare the conference open? This is the team that was responsible, or that is responsible for what you are seeing today. A huge round to all of us over here. And the hundreds of volunteers, I know, who haven't slept through the night, who've been working for the last 1 week without sleep. Kudos to all of you. So I think it's only right that all of us together declare the conference open. Maybe have a couple more mics. Okay? Yeah. On the count of 3, let us all say, we declare the conference open. And everybody, all of us, count of 1, 2, 3, will say, the conference is open. What do we say? The conference is open?
That's it.
I'll say it. 1, 2, 3.
The conference is open.
All right. Anything, sir? No? One huge round of applause to Bhavneet and his team. Bhavneet, thank you so much. It was wonderful. Bhavneet, I think you have a co-facilitator. Zaid? Zishan, can you please come on stage? Zaid, sorry. So I was right. Zaid. One huge round of applause to Bhavneet and Zaid. Oh, wonderful, thank you. Oh yes, they want to take a selfie with you. Are you okay? Yes? Good, good. Ready?
One, two, three, and go! Lovely, thank you so much everyone, and thank you.
Sorry. All right. Good morning, everyone. Once more, good morning, because I know a lot of you are, coming after the Energizer. Good morning. One round. Good morning. Loud. No. Good morning. Nobody. From the last. Good morning. Once again. All right. All right. My name is Praveen Chandra Haas. I've been associated with Swecha for about 17 years now. I'm one of the secretaries of Swecha, and it's my honor, to welcome you all to AI Days today. AI Days, when we started, I think I should, talk about, Chaitanya and Nagi Garu, who were saying, no, we should make this the largest AI conference. I think it's visible right now. Once again, a huge round of applause. This is undoubtedly the largest AI ML conference in the country. Would not have been possible without all of you over here. Thank you once again. Now, without further ado, let us start with a first thing. All of you are here. But why are we here? What is this conference about? Why are we doing this conference? I know a lot of people are, swapping their, notepads or something. May I request the volunteers to close the doors? There are also ACs, but because of the doors are open, maybe let's keep one or two open, or just close it when people are entering. Let's close it open, otherwise, the hall will not be cool enough. It is peak summer, so, request the volunteers to ensure that all the doors are closed. All the doors are closed. People can open when they're coming in, otherwise please keep the doors closed. Pratap sir, sorry. I am the sir right now. Everybody please sit down. We are here now. The first things that we need to answer are three questions. What is this conference? Why are we doing this conference? And the how of the everything. And not me, I'm not going to talk, don't worry about it. To answer these three questions, who better than the founder of Swecha, Kiran Chandra himself. Kiran, please come out to the dais. Kiran is the founder of Swecha Technologies with more than 25 years experience. Kiran. It is one part of the brains behind this. The other brains and the sticks behind this is Chaitanya. Chaitanya, has been, with a stick behind our backs, ensuring that we are doing everything, professionally and everything completed. Chaitanya is the co-founder, CTO at Ozontel. But more than that, he's been associated with Swecha for more than 20 years now. Even before me, he doesn't look like that. No, but trust me, he's older than me. Chaitanya, Kiran, over to you. But I would like you both to answer three questions. What is this conference about? Why are we doing this conference? And how we achieve this thing. Okay, over to you both. Would you like to
Thank you.
Headsets?
Thank you, Praveen. And I think more than me speaking anything, I think I would just want to invite three distinguished, very distinguished guests whom we have not announced till now onto the dais. And let us hear the story from them. And I don't want even to tell who they are. ముందుగా ఆశమ్మ గారిని వేదిక మీదకి రావాల్సిందిగా కోరుతున్నాను. ఆశమ్మ ఈజ్ ఎ ఫార్మర్. ఇలా రండి. తర్వాత భీమమ్మ గారిని వేదిక మీదకి రావాల్సిందిగా కోరుతున్నాను. అట్లాగే రైతు బసవరాజు గారిని కూడా వేదిక మీదకి రావాల్సిందిగా కోరుతున్నాను. అమ్మా మైక్ పట్టుకుంటావా? ఏం లేదు, వీళ్ళంతా మన చుట్టాలే, వీళ్ళందరూ మన చుట్టాలే, మన తానోళ్ళు. ఏం లేకుండా చక్కగా నీ మనసులో కనిపించింది చెప్పు. నీది ఏ ఊరమ్మా, నువ్వెవరు, నువ్వేం చేస్తావు, ఏమైంది? గట్టిగా వినపడుతుందా? గట్టిగా అంటమ్మా.
హలో సార్, మున్కన్పల్లి. నా కొడుకు కరెంట్ షాట్ వచ్చి కాలమైండు. కాలమైతే 4 పిల్లలు ఉన్నారు. 4 పిల్లలు, నా కోడలు, నేను, ₹1 రాలేదు. మస్తు ధర్నా చేసింది, అంతా చేసింది. చేస్తే కూడా ఎవరు అంటిస్తున్నా పోయింది సార్. అంటిస్తున్నప్పుడు 4 పిల్లలు పెట్టుకొని, నా కోడల్ని పెట్టుకొని మేము అట్టయితే కూలీనాలు చేసుకొని బతుకుతున్నాం సార్.
I think for all the people who would not follow Telugu, her son passed away after getting electrocuted while trying to water his fields. అమ్మా, నీ పేరేంటి తల్లి? చెప్పమ్మా ఆశమ్మ, ఇది మన కథ ఏంటిది?
నా మూడు కరెంటు వచ్చి చచ్చిపోయినాడు. చచ్చిపోతే 4 పిల్లల్ని పెట్టుకొని అట్లనే బాగా చూస్తున్నారు. అట్లనే మళ్ళా పిల్లలు పెట్టుకొని అట్లనే ఆడచేని ఈడచేని చేసుకొని సంసారం చేసుకుంటున్నాం. అట్లనే
అమ్మ, నువ్వు కౌలు రైతు తల్లి, ఆడచేని ఈలచేని తీసుకొని వ్యవసాయం
ఏం
చేస్తుంది.
లేదు సార్, మళ్ళీ మాకు భూమి లేదు, దూరం ఉండాలి. మనిషి కాలం చచ్చిపోయినాడు. మనిషి కాలం చచ్చిపోతే పిల్లల్ని పెట్టుకొని అట్లనే పోషించుకున్నాము. అట్లనే పోషించుకున్నాం కానీ అట్లనే మళ్ళీ ఇప్పుడు పిల్లలకు అట్లనే పెళ్లి చేసుకుంటున్నాం. అట్లనే ఇంతవార దగ్గర అయితే కూడా ఒక పైసే ఇచ్చలేరు. ఇంకా ఇంతవార దగ్గర అయితే ఒక పైసే ఇవ్వకుంటే కూడా ఇంకా అట్లనే పిల్లల్ని పెద్దగా చేసుకొని అట్లనే ఒకరితో తీసుకుంటున్నాము. ఇంకా 2 పిల్లలు ఉండాలి, ఇంకొక కొడుకు ఉన్నారు సార్.
అట్లాగే. Hope you all understood it, but the reason is I know that the expression speaks more than anything. Her case is that her husband passed away and got electrocuted, and he is not even a farmer who has got his own land. He was a tenant farmer who went to cultivate and he got electrocuted by just because of watering the plants. And I think Basaraj garu, మీ ఇంట్లో ఏం జరిగింది?
బొమ్మలపాడు గ్రామం మాది, నారాయణపేట జిల్లా, మండలం నారాయణపేట. మా తమ్ముడు కరెంటు షాట్ కొట్టి పొలం గారి దగ్గర పోయి కరెంట్ షాట్ కొట్టి చనిపోయాడు. మా తమ్మునికి ఒక బిడ్డ, వాళ్ళని పోషించగలం, మేమే పోషిస్తున్నాం సార్.
So now this is the story. This is the why we are having this conference. Do we solve this problem? We are not solving any other larger problem. We are not solving the minimum support price issues which are beyond our control. Can AI solve this problem? Is the why of this conference. And the slogan that we have taken is AI for society. And I think, yes, we are confident that this conference is going to set a pathway for many of the solutions to come of this kind. And I think, over to you, Chaitanya. I think we'll just get forward with this. This is the why we are holding this conference. There is a large society. We are a 1.4 billion population. About 80% of them are still working in very difficult working conditions. How does AI cater to them, and how does AI solve their problems? And I think this is the why of this conference. And I think, what do you think?
I think we can just move in. Okay, so I think as Kiran mentioned, right, I mean, when we were discussing who to introduce, which speaker to bring and all that, we sort of had a discussion and said that, hey, look, what is the problem that we are trying to solve? Let's look at that, and let's get the people, tell them the problem that they are facing. Now, how can AI solve this problem? We'll discuss all that. But then, right, this is an AI conference. Now that we know that when we say AI for society, and the majority of society is being represented by the farmers, we are still an agricultural society. And that's why we say that AI for society will have to solve problems for the majority of the people. Of course, we all know AI solves problems for many other things. But let me point out the actual questions about, again, the why and the how and the what. The whole concept came up because, see, AI from the beginning, what is AI, right? AI is nothing but data plus training. That's been the case since 1980s. Nothing has changed. It's still data plus training. Now, in the old days, we used to work with less data and we used to work with less compute and less data. But what has changed now? What has changed is that how do you collect the data
Basically, you sort of collect the data. How do you, what kind of compute you do for the data? And then, what are the licenses that protect your data? So these are the questions. Now what is happening is, the way the AI works now is that you should have humongous amounts of data. And you need huge compute, GPUs. Now the problem is, how does anybody else do this? Is this the only way in which AI can be done? The narrative has been said. If I ask you now, you have to do AI. And if I ask you, can you do AI without GPU? Can you do it? AI without GPUs. All of you know about AI, right? Can you do AI without GPUs? Most of you will say no. Can you say, if I ask you, can you do AI without a lot of data? Again, you will say no. And if I say, how do I collect the data? And again, you have, can you collect the data like OpenAI has collected? Again, you will say no. Now, the question we want to answer is, what if community can be part of collecting the data? What if there are better algorithms to do this AI without depending on GPUs? Can a model run on your mobile phone? That's the question that we are asking. And that is, the answer to those questions are yes. Community can collect the data. We have better models. We already worked with multiple research institutes, IIT, IIIT, ALPS, multiple research institutes we have worked with. We already created the models that are working without depending on GPUs. And similarly, how do we protect our data? Do you know that when you write something on the internet, OpenAI or any other tool can directly read that and train that data? Have you given them the permission? Without asking your permission, your data, how did they train? We need better protections. We need better licenses. So that's the call of this conference. The call of this conference is that, come on, let's get together. Let's define, let's change the narrative. It need not be that only that ones with the most compute, the ones with the most data will win this war. And talk is cheap. I can always say that, right? But then the proof is in the pudding. So the proof is that, how did we collect the data? We have done Swecha Gotuka. You know how we collected this data? What they did was innovative, the Swecha team. They did a conference by Ram Miryala, the famous folk singer. And the entry to the conference was your voice. It was not a money or anything. So you want to listen to the conference? Give a voice sample. Give 5 voice samples, join the data. And they collected 1.5 million data sets. See, you can collect data in a fun way. You don't need to employ Kenyan workers like OpenAI has done and pay them pittance. So we can create data sets. Then we created a model, a open source Telugu speech model that we will be launching in a couple of days. And that also works. And the bigger thing in the model, it works out of a mobile. I don't know if I can show you here. Swecha conference ki swagatam. So this is running out of my mobile. You can actually say it. There is no internet connection. Google doesn't need to look at what I have told. It works out of the mobile. It's a 200 MB model. All of you can download. It's an open source model. We'll be releasing it. So this has been done. We can do this. And finally, what we want to say. Yeah, and finally what we want to say is, see, all of this is open source. And in the end, we all know open source wins. Because if open source loses, the world loses. Thank you.
Thank you, Chaitanya. And here we go. I would just want to finish this session with one thing that has happened in the recent past. I think there is a gentleman who claimed to have founded the company, something which changes the world and everything, called the generative AI. And he was there going around the world, lobbying with all the governments, ensuring that nobody ever does any of those things of a similar kind. He happened to talk to 200 businessmen in Delhi, I presume. And the question was asked, if they're going to just give $10 million which any young person in India will be able to replicate it, the chat GPT. And he said, don't even think about it. And later he said that he retracted, whatever. But he said that don't even think about it. Then we thought, we'll not just think about it, because we are not in 1991. And we can't have 1857 repeat. And we decided that we'll have our own solutions. And here we are today, that these farmers whose families have been shattered because of an accident. And we believe that we don't want to be a low-cost workers again for the first world, but we will evolve into a stronger economy, a stronger world, a stronger India, where we solve problems with the people like this. And I think we have, with this model, we are just going to solve something which I want these people to inaugurate it. Amma, నీ బిడ్డ చనిపోయిండు, ఆ తల్లి బెనిమిట్ చనిపోయిండు, ఈయన తమ్ముడు చనిపోయిండు, నీ కొడుకు అట్లా కరెంటు షాట్ కొట్టకుండా నువ్వు ఇంటికాడ నుంచి నీ కొడుకు ఇంటికాడ కూర్చొని పొలం కాడు ఉన్నటువంటి పంపుని, ఆనవు చేన్లు ఉన్నటువంటి పంపుని, ఆనవు పంపు అంటే పంప అనేది ఎట్లుంటుందమ్మా? వరిచేను ఇంకా బతుకుండేటోడు కదా నీ కొడుకు, అట్లాంటిది ఒకటి ఇక్కడ అది నీ అదేనమ్మా. అందుకనే తాను బతుకుంటే నీకంత ఆపద వచ్చేది కాదు. అదే ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి వాళ్ళందరూ అట్లాంటివన్నీ తయారు చేస్తామని అంటున్నారు. ఆర్ వి రెడీ? ఆర్ వి రెడీ? అమేజింగ్. ఇప్పుడు అమ్మా, నువ్వు ఇక్కడ పొలంలో నీ కొడుకున్నాడు అనుకుందాం తల్లి, ఇది పొలం అనుకుంటా, ఇక్కడ బోర్బాయ్ అనుకో దీన్ని, అది నీ కొడుకు వేసిన పరిచయం అనుకో తల్లి. నీ కొడుకు తీరుగానే నువ్వు ఊర్లోకి వెళ్ళొచ్చి మోటార్ ఆన్ అవ్వమని చెప్పి ఎట్లా చెప్తావు? నీ కొడుకు అరే కొడుకు మోటార్ ఆన్ చేయమంటావు కదా, అట్లా ఒక్కసారి మోటార్ ఆన్ చేయని చెప్పని చెప్పమ్మా. దగ్గర గట్టిగా చెప్పు. నీ కొడుకు నీ మాట వింటలేదు, గట్టిగా చెప్పు.
నా కొడుకు మాట వినగానే పోయి కరెంట్ షాట్ పట్టి అట్లా అయ్యి మన దిశలు కడవాగా కరెంటు బంద్ చేశారు, మోటార్ ఆన్ చేసి.
అమ్మా, నీ పెను మీద ఇట్లనే కరెంట్ షాట్ కొట్టింది కదా తల్లి. మోటార్ మొత్తం చెయ్యి పంటకు నీళ్లు పెట్టి ఒళ్ళంతా తడిచిపోయి చెయ్యి ముద్దయి ఇట్లా తుడుచుకున్నా కానీ తడిచి ముద్దయి ఒక చిన్న పొట్టుబడి కదా పోయింది. అట్లా కాకుండా నీ పెను మీద చెప్తున్నాడు అనుకుని మోటార్ ఆఫ్ చేయమని చెప్పమ్మా.
ఆఫ్ చేయి మోటార్, మోటార్ ఆఫ్ చేయి.
This is the model which we are going to release it to the people, and we should all as a community be proud of it. If you all looked at the jingle and the logo of this conference, it is a collective neural network of the society. I want you to play the jingle once. It's a collective neural network that gets into this. The collective might of the Indian intellect is something that is going to solve problems for India. With this, thank you all. Thank you very much. Amma,
Praveen has to come. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Kiran. Thank you, Chaitanya. What you have showcased is what we can achieve collectively. You know, Chaitanya has already spoken about it, but let me repeat. How did we actually build it? How did we build it is through all of you. Were there participants for the Swecha Gontuka here? How many have participated in Swecha Gontuka? How many have participated? That's amazing. A lot of you have participated in Swecha Gontuka. We had 15 lakh samples collected in less than a month. And due credit, I hope some of you will do this as well. Ram Miryala, S.K. Srinivas, they have played a huge role in this. Ram Miryala had given free concerts to around 50,000 people who had contributed 200 samples. Each of them, if you have contributed 200 samples, we had a free concert by Ram Miryala, the singer, S.K. Srinivas with the brains behind it. Thank you to all of them. They are not here today, unfortunately, but we place on our record our thanks to Ram and his team, Srinivas and his team as well, who has made sure that 15 lakh samples we were able to collect. I think OpenAI's Whisper spent $700 million to get the same thing, $700 million. I think our cost was around 5 lakh rupees or 6 lakh rupees to ensure that we collected the same. That is the power of people. That is the power of all of us together working on this. In fact, if you see the logo over here, there are all the photos. There are thousands of other photos of people contributing. We have people from how many places in AP? 30 places in AP at least. 30 places in Telangana to get all the different dialects and samples and everything. So that is the power of people. So thank you, Kiran and Chaitanya for this wonderful answers to the 3 questions: the what, why, and how. Now, let's proceed to the first keynote. The first keynote will be presented by Professor Gaurav Raina. Dr. Gaurav Raina completed his PhD and postdoctoral research in mathematics from the University of Cambridge in the United Kingdom. He then joined the faculty in IIT Madras, where he is currently a professor in the Department of Electrical Engineering. He was chair, Technology Committee, and subsequently chair of the Mobile Payment Forum of India. This was the body that helped to architect and develop the standards for mobile-based payments in India. The first product was IMPS, which then led to UPI. Since 2022, he also serves on the Technical Architecture Review Board for Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission and is a member of the National Evaluation Committee for the Unified Health Interface under the National Health Authority. Currently, he also serves as the principal investigator on behalf of IIT Madras for a research and development engagement for the application of artificial intelligence in the Supreme Court of India. Since 2019, he has been driving an IIT Madras incubated company in data science for industry, which aims to infuse machine learning and AI into industry products and services. Dr. Raina, please do come on to that. The entire story. While Professor Raina is, gladly agreed to give a keynote now, I would just like to go back 6.5, 7 years ago. Dr. Raina was there for DevCon Hyderabad 2017. Now, if you can just put that up, please. 2017, we asked Dr. Raina to give a keynote, and he said, something. He said everybody should learn 4 languages. He said, one is your mother tongue, one language to communicate with others, English, Hindi, whatever language, one programming language, Python or other thing. And he also said mathematics is another language you should learn. He said mathematics because AI is going to shape the world. AI is the new electricity. This was back in 2017. A lot of people laughed at us, when we said, all of this stuff. But I think, we were just far ahead of the curve back then. And to have you, Dr. Raina again here after 7 years is a wonderful thing. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Gaurav Raina. One small request, all those volunteers who are standing, I know we don't have enough place, but may I request that we be seated on the stage. I see Nagi Gaurav also sitting on the stage, so please, let's just settle down, it's all right, just sit on the stairs for now, it's all right. May I request everybody who's standing to please settle down on the stage, it's all right. Hi, is this working? Can you hear me? So can the folks at the last bench raise your hand if you can hear me? Only one person can hear me. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for inviting me for the conference. I guess there's a little bit of pressure to deliver, not just being the sort of first but also the sort of very kind introduction given by Praveen. So I'm going to keep this talk sort of simple as possible. There are going to be 3 parts to this talk. The first part, I will share a story. In the second part, I will extract lessons from that story. And in the third part, I will say or highlight how lessons from that story can actually help us in an AI world, and I believe particularly in India. So for the first part is the story. भैया जरा कोड बताओ. It just reinforces that the impossible is possible.
Trying to create something which everybody would use.
You can take up crazy projects. You can do, something if you have the right team, the right environment.
Definitely an idea that took its time, but something that was going to change it. It's very interesting.
I think UPI has been the journey of building together.
As I look past the last 15 years, the entire story, the entire journey is a story of dreaming, a story of self-reliance, a story of can we build something which has not been built before. It starts in 2005. Very few people have mobile phones. You can make a call, you can send an SMS. But one of the more exciting things you can actually do is press a button on your phone to use it as a coach. At that point of time, the experience with banking was long queues, elaborate forms, something that had to be planned for, something that could not be done instantly. And at that time, a few minds across India began dreaming about how these two different worlds could be brought together.
Now, cash is a part of our, you can say, DNA. And getting people out of the cash DNA to this kind of a digital transaction is a huge kind of a challenge.
Big issue in those days was there was no Aadhaar. All these things were introduced after. And the only way that RBI actually allowed you to transfer money from one person to the other was from one bank account to another bank account.
We were studying a lot of numbers, and what we saw was that only 40% of the Indian population had bank accounts at that point of time. So that time, I thought that it was actually quite next to impossible.
Well, it used to cost in 2005 70 rupees if you walked into a bank, 12 rupees if you do a transaction on ATM, and about a couple of rupees when you did it with credit card. I said, well, then that's the future of the banking, the digital banking.
Audacious to think that everyone would have a phone, and even a common person would have a phone and want to make a payment, and the street vendor would be willing to accept that.
It was an impossible dream. The belief was that India mein to aise ho hi nahi sakta. India was not seen as a leader in technological innovation. But despite that, we wanted to build a world-class payment system that was mobile-based, bank-linked, and which could scale to 1 billion plus Indians. I mean, that was just sheer audacity. So what other government bureaucrats say? Let us look at what rest of the world is doing. I think one important thing that we said, well, no. Yes, of course, anything that was well known, we saw it, read it, but we didn't go around doing it. We said, we will be the first to do it. The Reserve Bank of India set out a very ambitious vision for democratizing payments in the country. Let me put it simply. Think of trying to pay an auto wala in the middle of a busy road. The place is crowded, horns are blaring, a bus is coming in close to you, and you want to pay for that ride. What you have is cash, but we were imagining a world where you can make that transaction just within a few seconds using your mobile phone. But even for the smallest transaction to happen, many institutions had to come together. We already had the Reserve Bank, which had given us this futuristic policy, the foundation on which we would build this system. To help design it, there had to be research support from professors and students at IIT. What I did is that then I went to the banks and said, hope did payment. And I went to the telecom service providers and wrote them in. And we created Mobile Payment Forum of India. So that time we thought that besides the executive committee, we need to have regulatory committee, we need to have business committee,
we need to have also the technology committee.
Once the right people came together, we had to set the rules of the game. On one hand, the technology standards had to enable anyone to be able to build and innovate on this platform. On the other hand, these rules had to protect the spirit of public good. No matter how big the players are, they would have to play by our rules.
The formulation that whole thing must work with any phone, any bank, any mobile service provider on either side really probably was the biggest formulation. Then at some point of time, RBI took a step and said, we'll form NPCI.
When NPCI was created, RBI had given a mandate to develop new payment products, real-time money transfer using the mobile channel from any person to any person, irrespective of bank affiliation.
So they wanted to provide something that was very low cost and that could handle huge volumes. So I think that was a huge motivation for setting up NPCI actually.
The first stepping stone towards UPI was IMPS, Immediate Payment Service.
India was the first country in the world with IMPS, the real-time retail money transfer, real-time, the beneficiary account credit system was initiated.
IMPS worked. All we had to do now was put it in people's hands. Mobile phones were getting very common, but mobile internet was not as widely available. So we had to design a protocol over a communication channel which did not need the internet to work. We were all so excited by it.
I tried checking my balance, we sent money and all of that stuff. So it actually worked, the USSD thing.
We all thought this would completely revolutionize payments in the country. Not quite. Despite our high expectations, it just did not take off. It was a setback, but we persisted with the dream. We also had experts like Nandan and Pramod to help us. It was at that time that the internet started taking off. Smartphones started coming in. And we sensed a new opportunity, an opportunity to get mobile payments into everyone's hands. The dream had been built. UPI was born. It really took off in 2017 with virtual payment addresses, QR codes, and mobile apps. By 2023, 75% of all digital transactions in India were done using UPI.
I strongly believe that the UPI success is dependent on IMPS success and the learning from IMPS. I think these were the two basic building blocks of, when we started designing UPI.
In the early days, when people confronted us and said, this is not possible, is it that they thought that we could not do it, or actually not want us to succeed? When someone tells you that something can't be done, that's a great opportunity to find ways to make it happen.
And today, in 2023, when we see our common man, Bajiwala, etc., are very comfortable using mobile payments. So I will say that last 10 years of that kind of an effort to make people change their mind really has worked.
वो तो फायदा ये है कि अपना सेफ्टी पैसा रहता है, कैश रहे तो दर चला जाता है.
5 ரூபான்னா கூட கூகுள் பே தான் பண்ணுறாங்க. கொஞ்சம் யூஸ்ஃபுல்லாக தான் இருக்கும். எப்பயாச்சும் காசு இல்லாத போது நான் அக்கௌண்ட்டில் பார்த்தேன்னா காசு இருக்கும், அந்த காசை எடுத்து வாடகை கட்டுவேன்.
ಅಂದರೆ ಇವರು 1000 rupees 500 rupees ಪೇ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಯಾಕೆ ಕೊಡಲಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಯಿತು. ಈ UPI ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಬೇಗ ಅಂದರೆ ವಿತಿನ್ 2 seconds ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ. ಸೊ ಅವರು ಬೇಗ ಪೇ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ.
The biggest thing what UPI offers, as any other digital technology, is the democratization. So the UPI does not differentiate between both of us, the guy on the road, the merchant, UPI has democratized this technology, the payment system, which was not available to the masses before. I think that is what I think UPI means to them.
That's how it has made the big success, and all the various countries across the world are also now trying to see how this can be implemented.
Don't think UPI only as a payment system. Use UPI as a tool for innovation. You will see many more technologies coming. India is for the first time getting confident. India is driving digital. If you go to Silicon Valley, a very large percent of IIT graduates are now CXOs of the top companies. That happened even 10 years back. Now you will see things happening in India.
To me, UPI is about being self-reliant and the confidence that you can do anything and everything here without having to rely on the West.
UPI is just magic. The ability to pay anyone, anywhere, anytime. A solution that's in the hands of the common person. A solution that can scale to 1 billion plus people simply looks and feels magical. जो सपना हम सब ने देखा था, आज वो हमारे हाथ में। As you absorbed that was roughly 15 years in less than 15 minutes. It of course can never tell the entire story, because that would take 15 years. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and distill and crystallize all the learnings from that and offer what I would call the UPI approach. Not the product, not the story, the UPI approach. Which were, in my opinion, some of the key ingredients that were present and that were needed. The first is that we were presented with a challenging situation. In 2008, 2009, 2010, in all the conversations with all the stakeholders on board, the challenging situation that was presented to everybody was, can one create eventually a payment solution which can be used in an auto wala transaction? Bear in mind that it is not a use case. It is not a particular situation. It is perhaps one of the most challenging situations that you can find for payments. Not convenience. You have to be in a situation where you can actually beat cash. One was not trying to build better, cheaper, faster banks or ATM machines. One said, here is a challenging situation from the Indian context. Can we create eventually a solution for that situation? Because if you have a solution for that context, you more or less have other situations. So lesson number one was start with a very, perhaps one of the most challenging situations you can within a certain domain. The second key ingredient of the UPI approach, in my opinion, was to bring unlike minds together. You had policymakers, you had government, you had industry, you had academia, you had professors, you had students, who all came in to try and address this issue. When you have unlike minds that come together, they will continuously push you to think differently. And in fact, at that point in time, we also had a government grant in IIT Madras called the Mobile Payment Certification Lab, which ran from 2009 to 2012, which paid for all the students, research. And at that point of time, while that grant lasted for 3 years, the grant was for a sum of 43 lakhs. The other advantage of when you have unlike minds together, at that point of time I was fortunate enough to be the chair of the technology committee and had this conversation with Dr. Berman, who was the co-chair of the Mobile Payment Forum of India, who was a representative from the Reserve Bank of India. And I said, sir, how does policy view technology? And with batting an eyelid, he looked at me and said, you tell me what technology can do, and we will shape policy around it, except that make sure that the interests of the common person are protected. Security, paramount importance. That was my first lesson in responsible technology. Of course, it's very common to be talking about responsible AI, but that was my personal first experience and major lesson in responsible technology. It was a great example of how all of these people came together and co-created, co-helped to create this dream. The ingredient of the UPI approach would be to continuously work for a democratic solution, which is high in quality, scalable, and affordable. So let me recap. Identify a challenging situation, bring unlike minds together, work towards a democratic solution. This offers a framework not just to solve complex problems, but along the way also drive innovation. This is what I can summarize from all the learnings that one had. Which brings us to the here and now. All of us face shared problems, shared challenges, shared responsibility, shared opportunities. As we sit here in 2024, something that is top of mind for everybody across the globe is AI. Some of are excited by it, some of us are scared by it, all of us will innovate in this new world. AI. In theory, it has three layers to it. A computer science layer, which is made up of programming, algorithms, data structures, databases, a mathematics layer, which has probability, statistics, optimization, and linear algebra. And when you combine the computer science with mathematics layer, with data, you get the broad area of data science, machine learning, and AI, with supervised learning, unsupervised learning, reinforcement learning, and generative AI. Of course, there's much more to it than what is here on the slides, but these are the essential pillars. I'm often asked by students, so what does it take to be really successful in AI? So I have a slightly anecdotal way of answering that. It's not that you need to know this content, which you do. But the way I respond is that to be really successful in AI, you need to have the ability to think like a mathematician, reason like an engineer, and act like a computer scientist. And what I mean by that is, in mathematics, the two words you often hear are elegance and simplicity. In engineering, the two words you often hear are metrics and trade-offs. In computer science, the two words you often hear are build and robust. If your systems can encapsulate all of these, you probably will have a world-beating product. You will probably be very successful in AI. In practice, AI also has three layers to it. There is a computing layer, a data layer, and a models layer. So in a sense, AI is complex, large, and diverse. And the current view of the world is that to be successful in this world, everything should be of the form Excel. Large data sets, large compute, large models. And we'll come back to that. Now, on the other hand, let's see the essential ingredients, or some of the ingredients of India. India also is large, complex, and diverse. Look at the diversity in languages, in cultural elements, in socio-economic factors. So at one end you have AI, which is large, complex, and diverse. At the other end you have India, which is large, complex, and diverse. Now looking at these two, it seems pretty daunting. How do we marry the two? One way, one lens to look at them is through the lens of the UPI approach. Pick a challenging situation, get unlike minds together, work towards a democratic solution. And if you do that, you then suddenly see that there is a shift in perspective. You're aiming to address specific challenging problems, which by definition will need smaller, more contextualized data sets, which will need smaller models, which will need smaller compute power, which by definition will be cheaper. So you now have the opportunity of thinking of at least 10,000 solutions, 10,000 dreams, 10,000 problems, 10,000 opportunities for innovation across education, healthcare, financial services, transportation, communication, manufacturing, agriculture, water, energy, climate change, security, name it. This can very easily provide a unique pathway for what one could think of in terms of an AI vision
for India. And if one is able to do that across all of these problems, dreams, opportunities, so to speak, and you have used the UPI approach, you eventually have solutions which not only serve within the Indian context, but like UPI, will also find lots of people across the border wanting to know how it was done, wanting also to adopt similar solutions. So if I were to think about AI not as artificial intelligence, but I'm going to have a bit of a play of words here. Intelligence for the auto worker. That was the motivating use case for UPI. Now, if you look at the auto worker and his or her family, and say just the way they can with a lot of ease use a UPI transaction, can one not aim in a similar way to provide education, healthcare, financial services, not just as payments, loans, savings, investments, access to the justice system. So then this provides a way of looking at AI through the lens of human-centric amplification. Of human-centric amplification. And we have what I would like to highlight is to give a sense of how we have, in our own little ways, tried to make progress in this. There's a wonderful conversation close to a year ago, which happened when I visited Hyderabad, between members of Swecha and Anthem, and we said, why don't we work towards small language models? And of course, that opportunity was completed by Swecha and Anthem. They went and collected the data sets, they put in the required compute resource, and they had the Chanda Mama stories, the Chanda Mama AI coming out. This is an excellent example of what I mean by solving problems, identifying challenges within the Indian context. And now we are aiming to take this and in all Indian languages from students and researchers at IIT Madras. I'm often also asked, what can I do? It all seems very daunting. Where do I start? All of this sounds great. Okay, there's a certain perspective. Where do I start? Now, if I'm going to end this with a very simple quote algorithm. Pick your dream. Pick the solution that is nearest to your heart. Pick the challenging situation that really annoys you, that you just simply can't rest until you have solved it. Not just solved it, but driven innovation in it. Step 1 of the algorithm, pick your dream. Step 2, apply the UPI approach. Step 3, never give up. Thank you so much for your time. Can I come? I think I finished 1 minute before time. I was looking very carefully. Please with me, I can continue for 1 minute, maybe take one question, or just stand around.
I really don't know how to thank you, Professor Raina, but thank you for this. I don't know, this is more than an inspiration. It's a call to action for all of us. It's a call to action for all of us, and I think we will be taking your words in the right spirit, and we will be building AI first society. Thank you, Dr. Goel. As I said at the beginning, what he spoke at the keynote 7 years ago is a reality today. AI, we were actually looking at old tweets to recollect what he said. He said, AI will become the electricity. And I said, a lot of people laughed at us saying, oh, what are you saying? AI becoming electricity. Do you even know the difference between AI and electricity? All of that stuff. But I think we are well and truly on the way to, AI becoming a part of every domain. And I think we have, people from every domain in this conference hall. Once again, thank you, Dr. Raina. Thank you so much. For our next keynote, we have someone very, very special. We have Shikha Goel Garu, IPS, serves as the Additional Director General of Police, CID, the Director of the PS Cyber Security Bureau. I believe it is the first cyber security bureau in the country. She is also the ADGP Technical Services, Director of TSFSL, and ADGP of the Women's Safety Wing. In her role overseeing the SHE teams and the Bharosa Center in Hyderabad, Shikha Goel Garu facilitated smoother access to the criminal justice system for women and children. Throughout her career spanning over 29 years, her focus has been on making policing more citizen-centric, where every common citizen can approach the police without fear or apprehension. She has also worked to ensure that the best protocols and tools are deployed so that the benefits of effective policing are not only known but also experienced by the common person. Through her efforts, the process is streamlined, ensuring hassle-free pathways for those seeking justice and support in times of need. Ma'am, it is an honor for me to invite you onto the stage. One please, huge round of applause to Shikha Goel Garu.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank the Swecha team for having me here today and giving me an opportunity to interact with such a diverse crowd that is available here today. AI is the flavor of the season. So let me start by first confessing that I am no expert of AI. In fact, when Swecha asked me to come and speak here, I turned to ChatGPT to ask them that what should a police officer include in her presentation before an AI conference. And, within seconds, I got a long list of things which I should be talking to you about today. But when I looked at them, they seemed so precise and so futuristic that if I had included them in this presentation here today, I'm sure you would have caught me. And although, as I confess that I'm no AI expert, I'm well aware that AI is affecting everything around us. AI is affecting every aspect of our life. So, in my office, after a session on the ChatGPT, I now have letters and documents which are so well written that at times the officers themselves can't explain what is there in them. Also, at school, my children are now being asked to give handwritten assignments. So, AI is all around us. As a law enforcement officer, I am here today. Why? I am here today to explore avenues of collaboration and learning which can make sure that Telangana Police is well equipped to deal with the emerging crimes enabled by the AI. So from the swipe on our mobile phones to predictive texts, to the fuzzy feature on our washing machines, AI has taken its time to reach where it is today. In the last 5 years, you can see that the slide ends at 2017. In the last 5 years, it has expanded into each and every field and sector which we can think of. And so, law enforcement is not far behind in the same. But it has taken what AI is today is not something which has happened overnight. It has taken almost 2 generations of scientists to see where we are. And I'm sure what we will be in future is something none of us can predict. I don't think anybody in this room can predict what will be there in the future. So about 80 years back, Isaac Asimov, who is one of the greatest sci-fi writers, had predicted a world driven by AI-powered robots. About 20 years back, in this Hollywood movie, Will Smith had very famously said, can a robot write a symphony? Can a robot convert a canvas into a beautiful masterpiece? We all know the answer today. Yes, it can paint, it can create music, it can create videos, photos, whatever, and it's just started. So it took almost 80 years for Asimov's vision to come true. But he had also very famously said that science is developing faster than wisdom, something which we need to keep in mind. We agree that AI is revolutionizing every sector across the world. It has immense powers of transformation, whether it is discovery of new drugs for serious ailments, to solving various problems and complex problems of mathematics, to acting as a tutor for our kids, to law enforcement. Everywhere, as I said, we are seeing AI. There is probably no space or sector which is left untouched by this revolution. However, with immense potential, there are always chances of risks. These are some of the news clippings on AI-induced chaos in the last few years. So from cancelling tickets of other persons on the airlines, to impersonating as the CFO and withdrawing $25 million. AI is providing a fertile space for the criminals to act. Whether it is heads of state, as we recently saw in the case of Italian Prime Minister, or it is pop stars like Taylor Swift, whose income is more than GDP of many countries. One thing is clear, that the criminals who are using AI are fairly democratic in their choice of victims. Now, AI can act and is acting as an active accomplice to the criminals in committing existing crimes and also in the future new age crimes. I remember early in my career, lot of time and energy was spent in apprehending pickpocketers. So pickpocketing was a big nuisance for the police way back when I joined. The criminal at that point of time had a face, had a territorial jurisdiction. Today, anybody sitting in Jamtara or Somalia can, within a few hours and with a few clicks, siphon off millions of rupees across the globe. AI is definitely going to help them in getting greater anonymity and greater speed in future. Law enforcement agencies across the world, including the Cyber Bureau here, are grappling to control these rapidly spreading crimes. So, issues like on the slide, for example, whether we talk about pornography, whether we talk about child sexual abuse, whether it is issues of social engineering, whether it is financial fraud, what we need are basically cutting-edge technology and innovative solutions. So, the Telangana Cyber Bureau is looking forward for such solutions, maybe AI-enabled solutions and tools which can help us tackle this bouquet of crimes which are happening around. And therefore, the reason for us being here today with you, we are aware that neither do we have the bandwidth, nor the expertise, nor the knowledge, nor the resources to understand the implications of AI on crime, law and order, and peace in the society. And therefore, we need support of all of you here to see that there are solutions made, tools given, so that the law enforcement agencies, we have a level playing field as far as catching of the criminals is concerned. And your collaboration need not be limited only to these spheres of crime. This is a figure which I have taken courtesy Interpol. These are very, besides the crime which I spoke about, these are 4 broad areas where AI can help us. Whether it is areas of recognition tools, exploration tools, which are low on the complexity scale, or whether they are issues of predictive policing. We have a wealth of data available with us, but how to analyze and use it for predictive policing. Or whether it is information sharing and communication, these are a little high on the complexity scale. The AI people, solution builders, can choose any of these or a combination of these to come up with solutions which can help. On the other side of the slide are the areas, for example, whether it is protection of our critical infrastructures, whether it is to uncover criminal networks, or law enforcement chatbots and whatnot. All these areas are where people like you can come up and help us in streamlining, in making things more effective, efficient, future ready. You would wonder why at the corner of that you have 1930. Well, 1930 is the cyber crime helpline of the country. Telangana was the first to have a fully functional call center for 1930. And today at the Bureau, we are struggling with the large volumes of calls which are coming. I hope somebody in this room comes us with a solution to see that our 1930 is more effectively, efficiently monitored, probably an AI model for running a call center. In fact, Uh, I believe that the US government has just very recently, maybe just tomorrow, 2 or 3 days back, has come out with a policy for all the government agencies with respect to AI. In fact, the word of the day in Washington, it talks about a chief AI officer. So all agencies are now going to have somebody designated as chief AI officer to ensure that the AI which is used across the government sector are used in a secure, in an ethical and a responsible manner. We also have recently the Prime Minister who had talked about, I'm forgetting the amount which he talked about, is that about India AI mission, a 1.25 billion investment aimed at improving the country's AI ecosystem. So, all of us are aware that we have to keep pace with the time. Although there are large number of people who say that AI is going to cause a lot of unemployment, millions are going to lose their jobs. But personally, I believe that it will probably create new jobs and new job roles, just like computerization did. Even at that time, the doomsday predictors had said that the machines will take over humans and the human jobs, but nothing like that happened. So I'm sure that nothing like that will happen with AI also. How do we collaborate? So I can offer from here that whether it is Swecha or any other agency, any of you who wants to visit the Cyber Bureau, you are most welcome to visit us to understand what we are doing and what are the challenges in future. You are also most welcome to share with us your presentation decks, or if you have any demos you would like to do, or if there are any proposals on your side. My team of officers are here who can help and guide you in taking them forward. But before I end, there is one thing which I would like to reiterate. The theme of this conference is AI for the society. And therefore, all of us here in this room, or all of us who are working in this sphere, have to collaborate with each other to ensure that the AI in future is for the use of the society. I request you to come up with solutions which are not only effective but also affordable for agencies to utilize them at large scale. After all of us owe it to the communities we live in and the communities we serve. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. It's once again an honor to have you all here. And I hope you will take up some of the challenges. That's why we are all over here, to take up challenges and see how we can solve them. Can we give an assurance that we are going to take up these challenges, work on some of these things? Yes. 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 Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
One bit of unfortunate news for all of you. You are going to be seeing my face for the next 40 minutes or so again. Don't worry, I'm not going to be doing the talking, but I have better people to be doing the talking. My job is to get ensure that they actually do the talking. Right? We've been talking about AI. We've been talking about AI for society. We've been talking about India to become the leader in AI and all that stuff. But how do we get there? How do we get there? How do we do that? Obviously, I'm not the right person to answer it. So I'll have a few co-panelists of mine to do a small panel discussion. Okay, but I think we'll keep it a little chatty. Can I have some, Naveen? We'll have for this panel. May I invite Usha Paliyat Garu, angel investor, entrepreneur, has been with the VHub ecosystem. She has been driving rural, and urban entrepreneurship at VHub. Thank you, Usha Garu. Thank you so much. May I call upon Sunil Abraham? Sunil Abraham, free software advocate to begin with. That's the first thing that I would say. But more well known to all of you will be Director of Data and Emerging Technology at Meta, Facebook India. Sunil, if you can please come out of that. May I invite Raj Satluri Garu, Chief Technology Officer of TechVedica. You've seen the IoT demonstrations and all of this stuff. AI, ML, IoT, TechVedica has been a huge part of it. Raj Garu, thank you, thank you. May I invite Sujit Jagirgar, the Chief Innovation Officer of T-Hub. T-Hub requires no further introduction. All of you know T-Hub. So my job is to get all of these people talking about AI, India, society. Let me see what I can do. Right? Please seated. Yeah. Can I have 2-3 mics? Yeah. Please. I'll just make a request. When you're speaking for the first time, please introduce yourself once more, because sure, we forget it. If people are like me, they will require at least 4 to 5 times before they recollect the names and all. Okay. So, can I have a small change? Change. All right. Let's begin. AI, India, society. But before we go to the society and all of that stuff, AI is well and truly here. This is no longer the Minsky's world of the 60s and 70s. Today AI is firmly here. We know that this is a reality. I think one of the reasons is also that we now have. I think we should just clarify this before we get into this, right? AI is reality today, not because somebody has suddenly developed a new algorithm or somebody invented a new branch of mathematics. We now have enough data. In the last few years, we have enough data across the world, and the compute power has increased. Again, not a breakthrough in terms of the compute power, but essentially raw increase in the fundamental computing power that's available and the data that's available. So now we are able to crunch all of this data, put all of these together, and now those same algorithms with neural networks was what, perhaps 90s or something like that, when neural network algorithms were coming in. I know, for example, Professor Kumar Ishwaran is here. He's been working on this. Chaitanya has been working on some of these things. There are other challenges as well. Can brute force approach be relevant for India and all of this stuff? But before we get into those things, I would like to start with Surendra Garu. You are at Microsoft again, which means you're seeing what's happening in the business landscape and enterprise landscape, the challenges and other things. What do you see for India as both the opportunities and the challenges in terms of becoming the AI leader? Let's say if we want India to become the AI leader, what do you see as the potential challenges and opportunities?
Hello, am I audible for everyone? Okay. First and foremost, Shubhodayam, Shubhamadhyanam for everyone. And a fantastic forum to really celebrate AI today. And one thing, just first half an hour, the key takeaways is there are 3 stories which I can share with my kids today during the dinner about the relevance, about the context, and about the impact. And really appreciate what Swecha is doing here. Now, as you rightly said, AI is nothing new. It's been there, I think, more than 50 years across academia. And it has become very relevant today because we have tremendous access to the computing, tremendous amount of networking, storage. The 3 key ingredients in order to scale it up. And as I was seeing the UPI story, the key there is the scaling, and that's the ingredient is the reachability. That has actually triggered and put us in front of the game. But now, is this just another tool? If we just look at it as another tool, I think we will be hugely mistaken. Okay. it is going to a complete paradigm shift in terms of what AI can do. And in terms of what's happening today in the market, irrespective of whichever country, whichever market you're talking about, traditionally any new technology has been approached with a readiness, just to go and get trained. I think with AI, it is not about the readiness, it is about the awareness. What is that it can do for me is the question before we can say what I can do in AI. I think that has to be a mental model or mental shift one has to start adopting. And especially for Indian context, how in Indian ecosystem, the Indian youth, we have the largest talent here, how they can really lead. When I actually put this in context of how it can be done, in any technology there are 4 parameters of success, okay, or 4 parameters to really ponder upon. I think a lot of students here, we all heard about IQ. Generally in academia we are introduced as IQ. And as we grow from academia to professional, we get into a lot of EQ. How do you handle your emotional quotient in terms of conducting with each other? These are the 2 personal and personality aspects of it. Any technology has to become, and I have to adapt and I have to embrace it. There are 2 more parameters which are very, very fundamental and which generally not talked upon in a larger forum. One is the social quotient. Okay. In terms of the amount of population, amount of society, the amount of communities that we have, what is the social relevance of any technology is the most important aspect of it. And when I was looking at the UPI, why UPI has become so relevant and so successful? Because it has elevated the social identity of every person, of every Indian. That's the fundamental key difference to the success. So any AI technology which we wanted to implement, we want to represent, first it has to bring the social context, social quotient in every person and everyone who is attempting to do that. Once it helps me in terms of establishing my social identity, it increases my social awareness, it increases my social quotient, then I will be slowly start trusting that. And 4th aspect, once the social thing is established, it has to be very, very relevant to way I live and way I conduct myself. That is where the CQ comes into the picture, which is called cultural quotient. It has to be very much relevant. When I saw the demo of the IoT, here, it will be adopted here because it is basically talks to me and responds to me the way I conduct myself, my life in the society. So I think the key challenges or the opportunities for any company, any product, any AI revolution is to, while you establish the basis of the technology, you start basically making the social relevance and cultural importance. These are the 2 aspects, and that is where I saw one of the first introductions of Swecha for me is when they introduced this language model for Chandrama story. That's my cultural quotient. That's why I relate to that. That's why it becomes so relevant for me. So those are the opportunities and those are the challenges one has to really consciously address in order to take it.
Thank you, Srinivas. And I'll go to Sunil. Sunil, you're wearing multiple hats. You're the director at Meta, Facebook, you're dealing with data, emerging tech and stuff. But might I request you to put on the free software educate hat, while we talk about this. Srinivas was talking about this, with these opportunities, there's a social opportunity, there's a cultural opportunity. For AI to be relevant in any of these things, we require lots of data to come in. Right? And we have spoken about the same thing now that the data storage is cheap, inexpensive, it's available. I know maybe Europe already has this, they have the GDPR laws and something, but I don't know if that's quite relevant to data that's produced or data that's required to build these open source models and stuff, right? What are the potential challenges that you see in terms of building these data sets in the country? Now, India is quite diverse, from across the length and breadth of the country, you have lots of data that can be generated from, For example, agriculture, the stories, Chandamama Kadalu that Surendra Garu was talking about, voice data sets. There are tons and tons of data sets that can be generated, but without, in some sense, protecting. What are your views on how do we protect our data? To build models that are relevant, that can help the society. I know there are no license per se, but your views on some of this, so that we can build a better AI for the country.
Thanks, Praveen, for your question, and thanks to Swecha for having me here at this event. It is truly an honor to have this opportunity to share some thoughts with all of you. Since you're asking me to answer the question with the free software or open source software hat on, perhaps I should start with that piece, which is what is Meta as a foreign tech company? What is Meta as a producer of proprietary software? What are we doing here at a free software conference? What many people don't know is that Meta is a very hardcore believer in free and open source software, and it has happened from the very beginning. Mark Zuckerberg was not very keen when he was building Facebook to pay for other people's cloud, or as Richard Stallman would call it, other people's computers. So he started an open hardware project called Open Compute. That was the first big project at Meta, which was an open source project. Today and every year we publish a state of open source report. So if you count the total number of projects at Meta, it is 1,200 open source projects that Meta has released. Separately, we are keeping a count on GitHub and on Hugging Face. We have released 650 open source or close to open source AI models, and we've also released 350 open data sets. So that is the extent of our open source portfolio today at Meta. And that's why we believe we are part of the same tent. Free software or open source software is a very powerful concept where you will see the same idea in the manifesto of the CPIM and the same idea in the manifesto of the BJP, and both of them will give separate ideological arguments for why open source is important for the country. So in the same movement, you will have large capitalist mega corporations, and at the same movement, you will have the small socialist cell as well. We're all part of the very same movement. So that's the first thing, that it is in a world where increasingly we feel divided, that you are different from me. Open source is still that very powerful big tent which brings us all together. But it is very connected to the question that Praveen is asking about privacy. So suppose you're using a proprietary software like WhatsApp, and as WhatsApp, a proprietary software company like Meta is saying, we are protecting your privacy and nobody can intercept your communication. The guarantee is being provided on the back of an open source project, which is Signal. And in the Meta white paper, we say very clearly, for the end-to-end encryption part, we have directly copied the Signal code, because it was available under a liberal license, where you could put it even in a proprietary product. Then, more recently, what Meta has done is we have moved to make Facebook Messenger also end-to-end encrypted. But when we did that, we did one more thing. We made some additional contributions to open source. We released a project called Code Verify. So what does Code Verify do? From your browser itself, you can verify that the code running on your computer is exactly the same code running on somebody else's computer, so that there is no targeted backdoor that Meta has put into your software to spy on you. So how to verify that there is no targeted backdoor? Only way to verify this is to use this project, one of the ways, and this project Meta has released as an open source project called Code Verify. So open source and privacy are very, very closely connected. if you don't have open source, then usually you cannot be 100% sure that you have privacy. So that is a very important piece. But what is the situation in India? India has a new law enacted in the middle of last year. It's called the DPDP, Digital Personal Data Protection Act. In this law, they have tried to do what Professor Raina said, what engineers do. They tried to secure a trade-off. The trade-off is between three broad objectives. First objective is protecting individual rights of citizens. Second is protecting innovation. And the third is to protect the ability of the government to govern its citizens. So that was the three objectives that the policymakers had. So very strangely they say, if you voluntarily put your personal data into the public domain, then anybody can use it for any purpose. It is not even covered under the Act. So voluntarily, if you put data in the public domain, it is not covered under the Act. But if it is not voluntarily put into the public domain, then you need consent. So at least India has quite a firm basis to protect the rights of citizens, and all corporations, big or small, hopefully will comply with the obligation under the law. So I will end off by connecting this back to one of our projects at Meta. The project is called Llama 2. It is a near open source model. Near because there are some big distinctions from the standard open source licenses, which people will complain about, and they should complain about. But the advantage of using Llama, I'll first start with the advantage for us. When we released it, we had released the code in Python. It was not very fast. One developer called Andrei Karpathy over a weekend re-implemented the same code in C, became 4 times faster than us, and we ourselves took his C implementation back into our servers to use. Obviously, free software is good for the capitalists, that much is clear. But the more important thing is, once you made it so small and you could run it on small devices like a Raspberry Pi or a Pixel or even your laptop, then you can disconnect from the internet. And you can ask Llama any question, and now there's a whole series of small models like this, which are offline models, that completely protect your privacy. Nobody will ever know what question you had asked the model. Because sometimes regulators in their enthusiasm will go too far. For example, the FTC in the US at one point thought that every single prompt used against OpenAI could be an attack. So they asked OpenAI to submit the database of all prompts to the FTC. And that would be a horrifying thing if you had asked some embarrassing question to OpenAI. So this is what is important, that there are multiple rights. These rights are often in conflict with each other. For example, we have a right to information. That right is in conflict with the right to privacy. And we have to be part of the policy-making process so that our lawmakers make laws which solve this double optimization or double maximization problem. Thank you.
I think Sunil was quite clever in donning both the hats, Meta and the free software at the same time. No, but I know it reminds me, we are actually using Llama 2 and other things. There are workshops happening, we're developing some of it on that stuff. Also remember, maybe Chaitanya was saying, 20 years ago we could not have imagined free software, Microsoft and Facebook sitting on the same stage talking about how open source is helpful for the country. It's changed time, so that way it's great. Right? So thank you. Now with these things in place, right, with corporations, including corporations like Microsoft, Facebook, releasing some of these models, open source, all of this stuff. I think it's a great opportunity for startups as well, right, to be able to utilize these things. I know there's a huge data problem. We'll get to that, but maybe if I can ask, Sudeep, you're at T-Hub, right? How do you see this as an opportunity for startups? You don't need to build your own models right now. If you want, can, but as Sunil was talking about, we have lots of open source models available right now. Data is a problem, we'll get to that, but how do you think startups can leverage this thing? How do you see, how can this ecosystem be nurtured in that sense, and especially in Hyderabad, Telangana, right? If you want to, let's say, become the AI capital, what are the potential pitfalls, challenges, opportunities that you see with models also being available, the open source models being available? How do you see this for startups? I'm sure some of these people would want to take this opportunity and build something out of it as well.
So I hope I'm audible, right? Okay. So Andarki Namaskaram. So first of all, thank you, Praveen, and thank you, Swecha, for having me here. In fact, a lot of people know about T-Hub, but let me spend a couple of minutes more about T-Hub. T-Hub is the world's largest innovation hub. Not sure how many people know about it. Second thing is, I don't know if you've been to that place, you would find that there are a couple of other entities also in and around. One is T-Works, and there is another tower that is coming up behind called Image Towers. So T-Hub itself has got about 450 plus startups, right, resident in the building. And T-Works, that is next door, is the India's largest prototyping center, right? And then Image Towers that is coming up right behind is going to be one of the world's largest AR, VR, VFX gaming solutions setup, right? Just coming to your point, Praveen, about what are we doing here, making this place Hyderabad unique model. Now, leave that aside, let me continue the story that the professor was talking about. So he spoke about the untold story of UPI. There is a bit more about the untold story about UPI. The UPI stack that was built had a significant contribution from startups, right? So the sourcing of a lot of applications happened from startups. There's also another application, I don't know how many people remember, I don't think we can forget, called Goel application. You guys remember Goel? Right, so nobody can forget Goel application. Very interesting thing about what we have done to the world. I have seen people traveling from the US coming to India carrying the COVID certificate. Did any one of us carry COVID certificates? No, right? I hope I heard that. No, right. So the point is, if you lose a certificate in the US, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks to get the certificate. And we never lost any of the certificates unless somebody had a problem. So this was another technology export that, along with startups, India did, to the world. In fact, the other point about Hyderabad and Telangana, again, because you brought up that point, Hyderabad is the pharma capital of India. Hyderabad is the pharma or rather vaccine capital of the world. So, I mean, if you look at sector by sector, there are so many sectors where there is one transformation is happening, and Hyderabad has been contributing both to India and to the world. In fact, in that process, we have attracted Microsoft and Meta, and I'm sure that's a long list, right? So, as of now, 25 to 30% of foreign companies that want to come to India are actually coming to Hyderabad. And this is something that I am not saying, it is NASSCOM's report, I'm sure you can go and check it out. So where I'm coming from is the opportunities exist. You don't have to look outside, beyond, say, India. I'm not saying you have to drop your plans if you have any, but there are opportunities right here. There are support systems that are available. I know there was this question about, it is just one T-Hub or, one of those entities, maybe T-Hub, etc. But both the governments as well as the institutions like ours are trying to see how we can replicate this model across different segments or sectors. For example, in colleges, many of you are probably still studying in colleges. Some of the colleges have already taken that responsibility to build innovation hubs within your colleges. and some of them have approached us, some of you have already the talent required, infrastructure required. All that might be required is to really go on and build on those. Now, when it comes to technology challenges or issues, I think both my eminent panelists have actually talked about data. In fact, I was in Delhi last week attending a seminar or a symposium on healthcare. The biggest challenge in India, and this is a challenge for all of you youngsters who want to pick the problems to solve, right, is really to look at healthcare. So, again, there's lack of data. We were just chatting a little while earlier. There's lack of coherent data. Of course, data is available, but it is not available publicly. If a startup working in a healthcare domain wants data about clinical data, or they want data about patients, you have to approach 100 different hospitals or clinics to get validated data. So that's a challenge. So one is, how do you build applications that addresses that? Just to let you know, the government of India and of course local government is actually building something called UHI. So on similar lines to UPI, Unified Healthcare Infrastructure, and that is going to be equally massive. It is being touted to be much bigger than the UPI, where you unify, stratify data for patients. Patients are nothing but people like us, who go to the hospitals. So that is going to be an opportunity I would request all the youngsters to watch out for, because if somebody is in Nagar Karnool or say Hyderabad, where do they rush if they have a critical issue? Everybody comes to Hyderabad. How do you make the tertiary care, or rather the primary care? Tertiary care is what we have offering here, which is like the Apollo hospitals, etc. The primary care facilities. How can technology, the same AI, which actually solved one of the problems that was demonstrated, can take up a challenge around healthcare? This one opportunity that I clearly see that is in front of us. So the other point is that, when we come to the entities like T-Hub, we have people from 16 years to 62 years as the founders range. So age, no bar. Really, it is about the idea. It is about the problem that you want to solve and the technology that you want to pick and adopt. These are the ones that exist in front of us. You just need to walk in and build on it, and we provide a lot of support from ideation stage till you are able to raise funds. So one of the motto we carry is, we want to create job creators rather than job seekers. I'm sure all of us, each one of us innately want that to be the case. So there is tremendous opportunity. Of course, there are challenges, but very confident if we have delivered UPI and Goel, I'm sure UHI and many more would follow. So, I can only wish good luck to the group here.
Thank you. That makes a lot of sense. In fact, Professor Reina is also on the technology board of UHI. So that's something that we look forward to. Next keynote is perhaps on the UHI, maybe this time with told story or something like that. So, thank you, Shikha. So, Usha ma'am, you've been in this entrepreneurial ecosystem space for quite some time now, and you've seen a lot of people come in, try to put up their startups, and you've been with incubators. You're an angel investor yourself, right? What is the message that you would perhaps give? Because you've seen a lot of people come and try, and some succeed, some perhaps fail, right? What is it that you see? What is the message that you would want to give if somebody wants to get into this AI space? It's quite nascent now. Let's say the level. It's still a level playing field for now. What is the message that you would give to them from your experience working with different startups?
Hello. Thank you, Swecha, for inviting me for this. And one thing I'm very pleased to see here, lot of women. Normally, I see like 1, 2, 3. I can count on the. So it's nice to see a lot of girls and women here. So thank you for that. Let's start with one thing that I'd like to add is how India looks at AI differently, right? Before coming for this, I was just going through, just for my information sake, going to Google and saying, what is the AI use cases for different societies, societal use cases, right? And I kept noticing the first 10 were always US case cases, UK case cases, or in a few cases, somewhere in Australia. The Indian cases were like the 30th or 40th number. I started counting after the third or fourth search. And all of them, none of them were for a 1.4 billion type of database. So any use case that we develop here will have to be for that kind of database and with a diverse database. Let me take a simple example. The government is developing something for languages in India, right? One of the best use cases somebody suggested was that we can use it for translating government documents, government information into easily accessible to women entrepreneurs and any other entrepreneurs across the board, right? So you can access, let's take for an example, agripreneur, right? If an agripreneur has information that they require for doing their business, in Telugu, that data will not be available easily. That information is not available easily simply because he has typed in the data, search through 10 different websites. Half of them will not be, my Telugu is not that great, but even I can make out that translation is little off. And you have such, if the simple language translation can be made so that the person in the last mile of India can get that, understand the scheme and apply for that scheme. That's the best use case you can start with now, right? Simple things like the Right to Information Act. Why should there be one person sitting somewhere in some office making that decision? There is in fact a startup which is working on that anywhere in India you can put in the information and the AI tool answers the question. You don't have an AI officer having to answer the question. Believe me, most of the time the AI officer has got many other things to do and he's not interested in replying to that, the RTI officer. So let there be an AI tool that's building that. Simple things like this, if you can build and execute it, the UPIs and UHIs, you have the big technicians doing it, but let's have some startups build legal, agri, health, education. Taking off from what Sujit said, there is telemedicine that's being talked about, right? One of the reasons it's not working is because there's enough data around women health. And most of the time, it's the women health which is the last priority in the family. So, the data sets around that is not available. One of the entrepreneurs that I'm working with, is trying to develop data for women around menstrual health, right? And that, she's developing data, she's not talking about building an AI on top of it. Right now, she's just developing the data. Can we, with different, sorry to disappoint the men here, not all women are the same. We have different health problems and different issues, and different genetic compositions lead to different issues. So if a person is suffering from a certain type of disease in Telangana, the same disease will not occur in Nagaland. There's a different issue there. Can we therefore have the data for each place? And that's something that a startup is working on. Can you build the data sets? Indian data sets will be very different from foreign data sets. And please, if you can have startups which are giving data, there's money to be made there too. Because Meta and Google are not really sharing data with us. So anybody who's willing to make data and sell it, money to be made there also.
So in fact, that's where Swecha is doing a lot of work, where we're probably, getting into a tough war with, Meta and others, but I hope nobody minds. We are going to create these data sets. In fact, this data set is going to become open source. Right? We are just working on a licensing model to create and release this. And I was talking about, some sort of attribution should go back to the people who had contributed to this, right? And this was not built by one company. This was not built by a few engineers. This was built by tens of thousands of people coming in together to contribute data sets. In fact, over the next few months, this is the focus of Swecha. We are going to be releasing a lot of data sets from agriculture to healthcare to all of this stuff. But I'll come back to this because there's a lot more question about data. For example, all of you are mentioning this. If I'm a hospital, why should I share my data? what am I getting out of it? But we'll come back to this. We'll come back to this in a bit. But I'll go to Raj. Raj, as a CTO of one of these very few firms, it is that I know of, which are really working on AI ML projects, products, services. Can you give us an example, or have you seen projects where AI is being used to solve societal problems, where AI not just the Soras and the ChatGPTs, but something that can directly solve a social problem? Have you experienced anything like that? Any projects like that would you like to share with us, Raj?
Sure, Praveen, thank you. Thank you, Swecha, for this opportunity. We are proud to be working with Swecha. So, first of all, what I want to say is, I really thank Microsoft, Meta, everybody here, because we use their models, right? So what I really as a startup feel is they build the basic models. We are able to use them in retail and solve different problems. So I want to thank them. One thing I want to say is, social problems are everywhere. So we have one customer in the US. What they do is they work in providing jobs for the low healthcare jobs. So these jobs are mostly from Mexicans or the blacks or low poor, right? They basically take up the jobs, cleaners, janitors, things like that, right? So what they said is, this company does a job screening for all the employees for healthcare companies to hire such workers. The problem here is when you plan these interviews, see the guy is so poor, he doesn't know how to come to your office, he doesn't have commute, he cannot come at the right time, and when he comes, the interviewer will not be there. So it's a big challenge to make sure that the interviewer and interviewer are both present when the interview has to take place. It's a real societal problem, right, in Philadelphia and other regions. So what we said is, okay, we can give them an opportunity where they can do the interview at home, right? They'll go to a web, there'll be questions and they'll answer. These answers are not like ABCD, right? They are like interpreting how somebody thinks through. So somebody says, like, what will you do if you find a difficult patient? So there are different ways, right? I'll talk to them, or I'll ask my manager, I'll talk to my peers. There are so many ways we can judge on how a person reacts to a problem. So what we have done for this particular stuff is, we have from the interviewer the list of 10, 15 points that somebody can say when this kind of question is asked. What we simply did is we created a recording. The user simply records his response for that. We simply do a semantic matching thanks to the tools we have, and we tell which of them really match, and we give the information back to the interviewer. So the interview process is done quickly. So what I believe is wherever technology can help the poor to make a difference, it will really help. One final thing I really want to say is, when I see all these LLM, GenAI, the way I see them is, there are different small tools. Some tools can convert voice to text. Some tool can translate text to another language. Some tool knows how to get information from documents. Some other tool knows how to get data from SQL. The beautiful part is LLM is unlike, see, everybody uses chatbot, no? Chatbot was there 10 years back also. I had a lot of challenges with chatbot because never will understand the intent of the person. So those chatbots used to be, if you go to the bank, select one for savings bank, select two for checking account. Like it is like your mobile phone only. Why? Because you don't understand how to interpret that. But now thanks to ChatGPT, whatever you ask the question, it understands your intent. And based on it knows what to do. And of course, we do a lot of work behind the scenes to train the model so that all scenarios, all prompts it works. So I encourage all the youngsters here to basically use all these tools to solve different problems. When you have this set of 10 or 15 ways to solve a problem, like Praveen, like you said, any problem that we have, any challenge we have, we can think about how to bring all these tools together to solve a problem. Thank you.
The chatbot was a real thing. It was just IVRI, but I had to just do it on the laptop. It gave a bad rep for chatbots back then, but I think it's far better right now. Again, now this is a slightly open question, right? What I was leading on to earlier, right? It's not that we don't have the data. Data is there, but in different silos. For example, hospitals. Let's take one of those big corporate hospitals, but they have lots of EMR data already available. But they are in silos. Everybody holds their own thing. And in fact, Raj was also mentioning a little while earlier. People have their own 5G deployments right now. There's a lot of data that's being carried, but inside a silo. In edge cloud deployments where the data is in a silo, right? What do you think? How do you think we can actually break these silos? And I know there's a policy aspect to it, right? But what can be done? What could perhaps be an incentive for, let's say hospitals to begin with, right? To start sharing some of this data, because I know that there's a lot of potential positive outcomes that can come out of that, from early detection of cancers to all of that stuff, somebody, I think you can get different perspectives on the same thing. Who would like to go first on this?
Just a quick thing. One, we have, setting Hyderabad a little further. Hyderabad has the highest number of research institutes after Delhi. Delhi is mostly administrative, but Hyderabad has the highest number of research institutes. These are central government, these are state government research institutes. And they have a huge amount of data sitting with them. So let's take an example of hospital data that we talked about. There is an organization called CCMB, right? Center for Molecular Biology. They have been trying to collect disease-related data and other kind of data. They've been trying to collect it. One thing, if you can just have a policy, a way of getting that data to them, they can then democratize that data. So there's one person who's in charge of all the data for medical, this thing. Then we can, it's easy. So the way NCPI was created, can we have the Central Research Institute which have the capability of managing the data, which understand use case of data, because data is not just about having a data, it's understanding how it can be used and how that can impact, ethical, non-ethical, all of that considerations. But if you can have a central agency which is using it, and the people, scientists who understand how the data can be used and misused, then those can become the places of having all the data. And make it mandatory for sharing the data. If the banks have to share for my financial data, somebody can as well share my health data. So everybody is possible. So, and data can be, in a way, not be very personal, but you can at least have the data in terms of, let's say, female, so-and-so age, has this is the genetic makeup. You don't have to have my name and my phone number attached to it. So that can be sent out. I think that could start working there.
A lot of people from CCMB today, and I'm hoping the message is taken. But I think we should also talk about the corporate and the private hospitals as well.
So I just wanted to state this, whose data are we talking about? It is your data and my data. The hospitals or clinics are the custodians, have a fiduciary responsibility to hold the data. They do not have the authority on it, because we give the consent to them to, for the data storage and processing, etc. I think, I'm sure it's not something what I'm saying is new, they understand it. I think, so that's where the policy needs to come in, to help everybody come on to the same page, so that the data sharing starts happening. It is not monetized, but anonymized, what she was talking about, so that, everybody starts using it the way it was done in UPI. I think that is something that is already happening. I'm sure the professor would cover that at some point. That's the way forward.
Shed some light on this, because what Sujit is saying is true, that the data is ours and ours, but are they actually really acting as fiduciaries or custodians, or the hospitals like to believe that they are holding the data? And what is there some policy on this? How do you see this?
I mean, I don't have much to say specifically, Praveen, on the hospital question, but I wanted to unpack the question itself and ask ourselves, how serious is this lack of data, and what is it actually stopping us from doing? Many of the health applications, I agree that that is a blocker. But let's take something very different, for example, text-to-speech, or speech-to-text, the opposite. So Meta has released an open source model called Massively Multilingual Speech, and the model can ID 4,000 languages, and it can do speech-to-text for 1,100 languages. So what was the data set to do that? Because when you start talking about 1,100 languages, many of the languages are resource-poor languages. That means there is no digital corpora to achieve any computation. What is the example of resource-high language? It is French. So thanks to the Canadian government, every single government document in Canada mandatorily had to be translated from English to French by very high quality translators and made publicly available. So the first language where we had very high fidelity between English between the two languages of translation was English and French. So, but then there is the other end of the problem statement, which is very low resource languages. So for these 1,100 languages, for most languages, the only text that was available was the Bible. And they got a human to read the Bible, and then they trained the model on that single recording. Yeah? And it made reasonably good speech-to-text software. High error rate, obviously, because very small corpora, but even 60%, 70% accuracy is a good job for the first cut. So let's take another example. There is a non-profit in Bangalore called Agami. They have a project called Open Nyai. They have created a chatbot for domestic violence so that women can ask questions about legal remedies. If you look at the question-answer pair that they had used to create the RAG pipeline before the model, it's only 300 questions and answers. And behind it, they're using some generic language model to make it into sentences and to respond to the context you're asking and so on. So again, you want to make a very powerful project, doesn't take so much data. It's only 300 question-answer pairs, you will arrive at the project. So there is a lot of work for us to do in India, which doesn't need to wait at all for data. We just need to be very clear, what is the performance we are interested in, what is the application we are interested in, and then we can quickly move to all of that. And I wanted to break the seriousness a little bit here. I think everybody is talking about very serious use cases of AI. I wanted to share two use cases which I think are useful for us. Munshi Premchand's stories are now in the public domain. They're free of copyright. So it is possible to have the story translated using a variety of open source AI systems or even proprietary to any other language, maybe Kannada, and then a Kannadiga farmer or a Kannadiga person who is illiterate can hear Dr. Rajkumar, his favorite film star, read Munshi Premchand's story to him, and he can enjoy literature. So that's one application which we should all be very excited about, provided the children of Dr. Rajkumar allow us to use the personality rights of Dr. Rajkumar for that application. And then the other story, or the question that I keep asking everybody, is what percentage of Indian homes do you think own a personalized piece of art? So suppose in the good old days, a king wanted a portrait of himself painted. Only kings and queens had that kind of art in their homes. But today, you could potentially go to a cyber cafe if the cyber cafe owner is savvy, and they could use a model to render your grandmother or grandfather's photo in the style of Raja Ravi Varma or...
And you can print it and put it in your house for about 100 rupees. This technology chain is already available to us. And imagine the profound way, because even if we estimate that 10% of Indian homes don't have this art, I suspect it is much more. My suspicion is much more. That 10% is hundreds of millions of people, and this will be a profound contribution to the quality of their lives, which is not serious, like medicine and many other serious topics that we are also talking here, because I believe the fun part of AI is going to be very exciting, and that part also should be open.
I want to add to something funny here, right? My mother is almost 88 years old, so she can go and buy saris she buys for all the others and all saris and all every year. So she started looking at this video things, WhatsApp and all, where people show, there is a shop owner, he keeps on showing the saris and all, she'll be watching them, all those things. So I was thinking something like this, right? So UPI, for example, has made it so easy for anybody to buy from anywhere, right? So now so many people have been able to start from the house selling saris, selling things and all. I was thinking AI can, what you said, it can be applicable. My mom can probably see the sari and see how the sari looks on her, how it looks on the person she's trying to buy, right? So I see great things can happen as a next step. So AI is really amazing that way. Already happening.
చెప్పండి.
Just want to
చెప్పండి ఓకేనా?
general
ఆడియోలో ఉంది ఓకేనా?
discussion.
General audio.
Why would anybody doesn't share data? I think data is a
ఓకే ఉంచుకుంటే చేస్తాను.
But why people hesitate to share, and why whatever available data we can train the model and be successful? I think the underlying question or underlying theme is the quality of the data. That is the most important. Because of which just with 300 questions and answers, relatively a good model can be built. Now, the fundamental thing is quality of data. But in order to get the quality of the data from any person, any organization, or even from like somebody asks my data, I want clarity of usage. That's the main premise. If I know why the data which I am sharing is going to be used, how it will be used, clarity of usage, where it will be deployed. One of the important aspects is the policy always kind of trails behind the innovation. Okay? And today, if we go to any application, the main once you sign up, the main disclaimer says that, are you ready to share your data? It might be used somewhere in some context. Another thing, there is no clarity in terms of how that will be used. That is the reason which I will be very much hesitant to share any of the data. So the first aspect in terms of policy making is to bring the clarity of usage. Once the clarity of usage has been stated, even though there is a strict legal law which has been established, people will be willing to trust the system because there is a usage which has been already stated there. So quality data and clarity on the usage are the fundamental two aspects which we need to really empower everybody, and that is one of the fundamental challenges in order to really make the AI for everyone. Okay, and that is going to be one of the first challenges, and that's where the technologists, academia, and the students need to have a platform to interact. And one of the reasons behind the slowness of growth or slowness in terms of adoption is the mentorship which I feel. When I interact with students as a part of my social responsibility to raise awareness on AI with a lot of students, what I feel is the environment where somebody can really ask any question without any reservation, okay, and then seek answers for that in a very secure way. That is missing. That's where we need to have a platform of mentorship without hesitation to create awareness of how the data will be used, where it will be used, what will be deployed. And one of the only forum that can enable this is the open source forum. Okay. Because open source doesn't promise any employment. But one thing open source promises is the deployment. That's the fundamental importance of open source. Once you promise what you're going to deploy, then people will trust you and people will be ready to share the information.
Absolutely. In fact, all of this stuff that we're doing is proof of that, right? You know, so the fun part, right, the Chandamama Kadalu, it's not the equivalent of the Munshi Premchand stories, but these are stories that we all grew up in. You know, Surendra was saying the same thing. There's a huge cultural connect to all of this. So it's a fun way that we had, in 6 hours, 10,000 students proofread around 40,000 stories that then fed into this small language model. Even the voice collection corpus activity was a fun part, right? Oh yes, sure. There are going to be a lot of fun projects, but I'll have to, go back to serious questions again. I have 2 questions for all of them, and probably relevant to all of us over here. 2 questions for each of you, same question, different perspectives. I know we are at the fag end of this discussion. First question is, in your opinion, what should happen, what should we do to ensure that we are the AI capital of the world? Okay, and one message to all of us over here, everybody over here for the AI days, so I'm guessing everybody is here because they want to learn and become successful in AI, right? So what's one message that you want all of us to take away, and one key thing that you think should happen, or one thing for us to become the AI capital, whichever way you want to go. And okay, we'll start with Rangarajan.
Some of the AI days gives me a kind of impression we are just few days away from the elections as well. Okay, so let's request, if we wanted to become AI capital of the world, AI capital leaders in the world, information is out there available. So go and use the best intuitive way of using AI. Understand your constituency, understand your leaders, understand your representatives, blog about them, share your feeds on them, and then make that as the most relevant topic, because the AI adoption is all about the relevance and the context. If we approach any problem with the relevance and the context, I think it will be the first starting step to be called as leaders in that space. So my request or my message is, just a few days away, we're going to elect new leaders. So use the AI to the best ability and share your story, how you used AI to really understand the problems of your constituency and the representation of the leaders, what they're promising, are they relevant or they context based. I think that's the fundamental message I wanted to share.
Thanks, Surendra. In fact, I'll take the second question first. What should we all be doing, right? Generally, because we interact with startups, they have a solution, they start finding the problem, right? So try and see if you can find the problem and try and solve for that problem. I think that would help you hit it off well. It doesn't matter whether you are an entrepreneur, founder, or a student, or somebody who's looking for a great job opportunity. I think what you need to do is where you want to go and what you really want to achieve is what you need to keep in mind, especially for entrepreneurs or would-be. Try and identify the problem and solve it. And for AI capital, in fact, I'm sure we are all aware that we are now $4 trillion economy. World is coming to India for market access. So if we can solve for data issues, the world will come for data as well. Just to let you know, in fact, US has got roughly about 30 foundational models, is what I read somewhere. India has got none. I think small countries like Israel or some of these, I'm not talking about China, have got probably 2 or 3 big large language models, foundational models. So there's a huge opportunity for us to build on. And of course, we have got 2 great organizations that are offering open source capabilities as well. So these are the areas to look into for to respond to those questions.
Yeah, I just want to say there is always a business and IT. So I represent IT organizations in the US, India. See, the IT guys never understand business, no? Same way, AI guys never understand customers or society. So first thing that I would say is, okay, we are in colleges, schools, we learn algorithms, we learn data structures, right? We get a job, at least we know how to use the tools, how to solve. So at least in the initial days, we learn how problems are being solved, right? How to change the hairstyle of a person, how to change the dress of a person, how to write a nice article, right? My daughter does all her BB assignments using ChatGPT, right? So I'm worried about that also. So my thought process is, we need to go into business or go into society to understand what the challenges are. I think it was rightly said in the morning call by Professor. So we need to understand where technology can make a difference, right? There are many technologies that have to come through. I see GenAI is just one of them. I was just talking to Praveen earlier. Even big enterprises, like when we want to work with ports or airlines, they also have these big challenges. They don't have the reliable network bandwidth to use technology in ports like sensors and cameras and all. They can't. So what is happening now with new technologies like private 5G, where you are issued a bandwidth. So what I'm saying is, when technologies, players, everybody has to come and create an environment where a business problem can be solved. So my earnest request to all the people is, maybe you should go and work with companies, say that you want to work on business kind of problems using AI. So get familiarized with it. So when different solutions, different problem comes, at least we know how to approach. Thank you.
Can I take a little different approach from you, sir? I agree with you when I say when you said that people don't know where to look for problems. They seem to have solutions first, and they don't have. Then they, half the time they come to us saying, "I have a fantastic product, no market, no funding." So, my simple submission is the solution is fantastic only if there is a market. Now, coming to that, the one thing that I think India can do for AI, for any data set or any modeling, any IT that we can do, is how can we model it for the last person? Whether it is, look at agri supply chain, right? We've not even thought, if you look at the way the world is looking at agri with AI, you combine the two, the things that you get is precision farming, you get things like commodity price management and things like that. In India, right now, the farmer is not, with 1 acre of land, is not really worried about how much commodity should I produce, at what price should I produce so that I can sell it. Because he's seen his neighbor, he's putting tomatoes, I'll also put tomatoes. Because last year, that tomato that guy is producing, where is it going? 40% of Indian food is wasted. The production that we do is wasted. Can we build models for post-harvest? Everybody is building models for pre-harvest. Can we build models for post-harvest? Where should the cold chain be? We can have mobile cold chain storages, but where should they be when the harvest happens? Right? That's one use case. Taking another use case, let's look at traffic data. India, one of the biggest problems in most cities in India is traffic. And please, somebody find a solution where there are no U-turns. My everyday morning commute is, how do I find a road to go where there is no new U-turn today? So the same traffic management data that we have can solve for ambulances, which is the best route for the ambulances to take. The same data can be used for preventing accidents, predicting accidents and preventing that. So the same data can be used for lots of small things which can then be impacted in smaller towns, smaller villages and things like that. Think of solutions that can be like UPI, which is mass, which is scalable, which is everywhere to the last person it can go to. You build models in India for that. You have best case scenarios here. Then it can be deployed anywhere in the world. So that's my submission for this.
I think if we solve, only Bangalore traffic is an NP hard problem. I don't think anybody can ever, solve that. Anybody from Bangalore? No. There are some people. Oh, I'm sure it's an NP hard. I think for me it's an NP hard problem. Sorry, go ahead.
Shall I? Okay, so I'll come at this. I think the other panelists have covered the question rather comprehensively, so I'll take a slightly different approach. I think some of us here are part of what we call the free software or open source software movement. It's a community of people that use or build free and open source software. But that is just one of the many openness movements. There are many other openness movements. And the problem with AI, exactly as we had during the inaugural ceremony, is that it's a dual-use technology. It comes with some risks. Just like electricity. Electricity, even today, comes with very significant risks, but also very, very useful technology for us as the human species. So, whenever anybody is selling you some technology, they will make some claims about the risk. It is risky this way, or it is risky that way. But how can you believe those claims? The only way you can believe the claim is if it follows what is called an open science paradigm. That means the software should be open source, the training data set should be available under open data license, the full documentation of what you have done should be published under an open access scholarly paper. And that is why I would slightly resist this point that India has no foundational models. Because many of these foundational models, They are, even if they are proprietary models, they are released alongside with a paper, which will explain the model. You should just go and look at the names of the authors in those papers. You will see many, many Indians. So India as a country may not have built models, but Indians have definitely built some of these key foundational models, including Llama 2. We have Indian authors building them. So what should you do to be part of this open science movement? Because that is the critical moment if you want to solve the data problem. According to DST, Department of Science and Technology, and Department of Biotechnology, they have an open access policy. That means every year they give $0.85 billion to Indian researchers as grants. But the expectation is, once you do the research should be published under open access license. That is the expectation. All we can as citizens say to these professors, please also release the data set. So that in the tradition of replicability of science, some other scientists can also repeat the process and check whether your scientific claims are correct. If there is a culture of releasing data sets in India by state governments, by scientists, then these data sets will be available for us to do other things. There will be a culture of open data sets being broadly available. So I encourage each one of you, because this $0.85 billion of research is your money. The intellectual property that has been created by that is licensed to you mandatorily by government policy. You own that, you're a custodian of that IP, push that IP in a further open direction. It is going to help all of us secure this leading position on AI technology.
Since you brought it up, I think it's a pet peeve of ours, but let's take this as a challenge. Open access journals, the Elseviers and the Springers of the world charge thousands of dollars just to publish one piece of paper. Per page is I think approximately $100 or beyond for any open access journal. The problem is there needs to be scopus indexing and all of that stuff. Can we today, take a stance, say that, we are going to come up with our own open access journal, not relying on the Elseviers and the Springers of the world, but to also, at some point get into the scopus as well, because we can't start with a scopus index journal.
I mean, we need not be obsessed with journals, at least for some domains like AI.
Scopus is the problem.
Because some of the best papers in AI are not in journals. They are outside journals.
No, it is something that I think we should go for the next 1 year.
Yes.
If we can actually come up with our own peer-reviewed conference, proceedings, which are open access, and that is the huge thing, because even if you are the author right now, you can't even go and look at your own paper. That is something that we should definitely work towards. Open science, open source software. If you want India to become the AI capital without any of this stuff, it's absolutely impossible. Let's work together on that. So it's an open call to everybody over here. Let's work together, create that open access system, open access conference proceedings, whatever that is. I think we should work towards it. But Raj, okay. You want to say something? All right. So we have come to the end of it. I have a small message to give to all of you as well. While they're talking about AI, society, all the serious topics, as Sunil said, I have a slightly, more fun thing to say. How do I make AI us as the AI capital? Is first of all by letting the word go out. AI days, AI for society. Might I request that how many of you are on LinkedIn over here? I think you should take a photo and put it to Microsoft. So we should perhaps do this. Can we tag hashtag AI days? What do we do? Maybe we'll just go back to the previous session. There was a UPI story, right? It had brought out different emotions in all of us. Some of you felt proud, some of you felt, oh, this is good, inspired, whatever it is. Maybe we can do this. I watched, put the link to the story. At AI days, hashtag AI days. All of us, I see more than 1,000, 1,500 people in the auditorium. All of us together, can make a big bang, right? Put out, post on LinkedIn. Then you watch the story, hashtag AI days 2024. Put out the emotion, whatever you felt, okay? And then nominate 3 of your friends, each of us. I know this goes back to that, ice bucket challenge, but maybe sorry, we are not doing this on Facebook any longer, but we'll perhaps do this on LinkedIn. Okay, just because Surendra is sitting closer to me, right? We'll do this on LinkedIn maybe. Okay, why don't we do that? Hashtag AI Days. There's a good photo booth outside. We can take a photo over there, post it on your LinkedIn. Bhavneet was saying in the morning, you don't feel shame to ask for appreciation, promotion. I think we should appreciate all of us. This is a huge thing. I see a lot of energetic faces over here. Why don't we do that? Take a photo over there or something, put it on LinkedIn, say that you watch this at hashtag AI Days. Sahiti will kill me if I don't give the correct hashtag, which is why I'm not saying it out. Sahiti, AI Days. Hashtag. See, Naveen is already ready to kill me. Hashtag AI for society. Please also hashtag AI Days. I think this is one way. These sort of conferences will actually allow us to become the AI capital. I don't think there is ever another conference like this where lots of people, we have Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, Google, everybody come and talk about all of these things. We have the entrepreneurial ecosystem. We have people who are really working on AI projects, and we have the open source community, which is creating all of these things. So they're already bored of looking at my face. So what I will do is I'll thank all of you. Thank you for taking your time out. Thank you for sharing us your experiences, knowledge, and thank you for having us. What we will do is we'll go for a lunch break, and post lunch we have the parallel tracks. All of you have your handouts. There will be slight changes in updates. Why don't you go to the website? Go to the website aidays.io. The schedule gets updated over there if there are any updates over there. Please have your lunch, and let's come back to our tracks once we're back. We should be back by around 1:45. 45 minutes is a good lunch break. Too much of a lunch, and I will so come back and sleep. So now let's keep a light lunch, 45-minute break. Let's come back to the conference rooms. Thank you once again. There are photo booths out there. Please do take photos. I don't think I need to tell this audience that they need to take photos, right? Thank you everyone. Once again, thank you.
నేను ఒక ఐటీ ఎంప్లాయీ అండి. నేను ఐటీ కంపెనీలో పనిచేస్తూనే స్వేచ్ఛలో కూడా ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ కమిటీ మెంబర్ని, వన్ ఆఫ్ ద మెయిన్ ఆర్గనైజర్స్ అనమాట. సో బేసిక్గా రేపు పెద్ద ఎత్తున జరిగే ఈ AI Days కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఏదైతే ఉందో, ఈ 2 రోజులకు సంబంధించిన వర్క్స్, ప్రిపరేటరీ వర్క్స్ అన్నీ చేయడానికి వాలంటీర్స్ సుమారు 150 పైన వాలంటీర్స్ వచ్చారు, యాక్చువల్ స్టూడెంట్ వాలంటీర్స్. దాంతోపాటు మన ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ కమిటీ మెంబర్స్ అవ్వచ్చు, డిఫరెంట్ కంపెనీ హెడ్స్ అవ్వచ్చు, వీళ్ళందరూ కూడా వచ్చి దీనిలో భాగస్వాములు అయ్యి వాళ్ళందరూ కూడా రేపు జరగబోయే ప్యానల్ డిస్కషన్స్, ట్రాక్స్ ఎట్లా సెట్ చేసుకోవాలి ఏంటి ఇవన్నీ కూడా చూసుకుంటున్నారు. సో ఇది భారతదేశంలోనే బిగ్గెస్ట్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ కాబట్టి సో పెద్ద ఎత్తున ప్రిపరేషన్స్ అయితే జరుగుతున్నాయి. అందరూ జాయిన్ అవ్వాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాము.
This is the location where we will be holding our conference, and this is going to the main auditorium. The Jawaharlal Nehru Auditorium at the JNTU is getting ready for the largest ever AI conference in India. And I think there is a series of luminaries who would be coming, and there are close to 70 speakers, 60 sessions, and hundreds of people who would be attending it. And it ranges from CEOs to CXOs to researchers, academia, IT professionals and students. So from 101 sessions to a deep dive into AI, Hyderabad is pacing ahead itself, bracing ahead itself, and I want everyone to come and see and participate and enjoy how the AI is going to shape up in India for society.
సో బేసిక్గా మనము రేపు బిగ్గెస్ట్ ఏ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఇన్ ఇండియాకి ప్రిపరేషన్స్ నడుస్తూ ఉంది. చూస్తూ ఉన్నారు కదా, మనము ఒక మోడల్ని తయారు చేస్తున్నాము. ఇక్కడ మన రైతులు వచ్చేసి మోటార్ని వాళ్ళ వాయిస్తో ఆన్ చేస్తారు. సో అదొక యాక్షన్. కిరణ్ చంద్ర గారు మనకి గైడ్ చేస్తున్నారు మొత్తం టీమ్ని అంతా ఎలా చేయాలా. డ్రై రన్ ఒకసారి చేసుకుంటే ఎల్ఈడి స్క్రీన్స్ అన్నీ కూడా సెటప్ అయిపోయినాయి మొత్తానికి. చాలా బాగా వచ్చింది అంతా. ఆల్మోస్ట్ 1000 మందిని ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నాం రేపు మనం. సో ఇవంతా మనం మేనేజ్ చేసేసి రేపు సక్సెస్ అవ్వాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాం.
My name is Amulya Gandhi. I am from GIOE, studying from Cloud Computing and Big Data branch. Basically, రేపు AI Days eventకి tech support లాగా volunteer చేస్తున్నా. Very nervous and excited.
So we are here as volunteers. రేపు అయ్యే వర్క్షాప్స్లో we are going to help them by technically. My branch is CCB, Cloud Computing and Big Data. Actually, as a volunteers, we are first time here in Swecha. We are so excited to teach them as well as we are also seeking to learn something new and creative.
ఏంటంటే ఏఐ అంటే మనమే చెప్తున్నాం, డిఫైన్ చేస్తున్నాం లిటరలీ. ఎందుకంటే ఏఐ అంటే చాలా ఏదో బ్రహ్మ పదార్థంలాగా, ఏఐ అంటే మన వల్ల అవుతుందా, అసలు ఏఐ అంటే ఏంటి, చాలామందికి కన్ఫ్యూజన్లు ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఉన్నాయి. ఐ థింక్ దిస్ పర్టికులర్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఇస్ ద బిగినింగ్ వేర్ వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు సెట్ అన్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్. అండ్ ఓన్లీ పెద్ద పెద్ద కార్పొరేట్ కంపెనీలనే కాదు, గూగుల్, మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ వాళ్ళే బిల్డ్ చేయటం అని కాదు, మనలాంటి సామాన్య ప్రజలు కూడా మన కోసం. అబ్దుల్ కలాం గారు వెన్ హీ వాజ్ ఎ ప్రెసిడెంట్, అబ్దుల్ కలాం గారు చెప్పారు ఏంటంటే ఒక కాన్ఫరెన్స్లో 2005లో, పీపుల్ క్రియేట్ నాలెడ్జ్ ఫర్ పీపుల్. ఐ థింక్ దట్ ఈస్ really successful, and that is happening every day, and we are creating knowledge for people again back. I think as we are in AI era, we are creating localized AI and democratizing the technology to make it accessible to the people.
Awesome 2 days, AI Days 2024. If you're not here, you're missing something great. All of you be here without fail.
I'm happy to be here because the AI 2024 is one of the biggest conference on artificial intelligence. Since it's going to invite, or other participations are coming from academicians, students, researchers, and also from industry, it's going to be a good gathering, and I'm sure 70 speakers from different cross-section of areas. I think they'll definitely provide lot of information to all of us. Be here, make it a big success.
నేను ఒక ఐటీ ఎంప్లాయీ అండి. నేను ఐటీ కంపెనీలో పనిచేస్తూనే స్వేచ్ఛలో కూడా ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ కమిటీ మెంబర్ని. వన్ ఆఫ్ ద మెయిన్ ఆర్గనైజర్స్ అనమాట. సో బేసిక్గా రేపు పెద్ద ఎత్తున జరిగే ఈ AI డేస్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఏదైతే ఉందో ఈ 2 రోజులకు సంబంధించిన వర్క్స్, ప్రిపరేటరీ వర్క్స్ అన్నీ చేయడానికి వాలంటీర్స్ సుమారు 150 పైన వాలంటీర్స్ వచ్చారు. యాక్చువల్ స్టూడెంట్ వాలంటీర్స్. దాంతోపాటు మన ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ కమిటీ మెంబర్స్ అవ్వచ్చు, డిఫరెంట్ కంపెనీ హెడ్స్ అవ్వచ్చు, వీళ్ళందరూ కూడా వచ్చి దీనిలో భాగస్వాములు అయ్యి వాళ్ళందరూ కూడా రేపు జరగబోయే ప్యానల్ డిస్కషన్స్, ట్రాక్స్ ఎట్లా సెట్ చేసుకోవాలి ఏంటి ఇవన్నీ కూడా చూసుకుంటున్నారు. సో ఇది భారతదేశంలోనే బిగ్గెస్ట్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ కాబట్టి సో పెద్ద ఎత్తున ప్రిపరేషన్స్ అయితే జరుగుతున్నాయి. అందరూ జాయిన్ అవ్వాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాము.
So this is the location where we will be holding our conference, and this is going to the main auditorium. The JNTU-Hyderabad.Auditorium at the JNTU is getting ready for the largest ever AI conference in India. And I think there is a series of luminaries who would be coming, and there are close to 70 speakers, 60 sessions, and hundreds of people who would be attending it. And it ranges from CEOs to CXOs to researchers, academia, IT professionals and students. So from 101 sessions to a deep dive into AI, Hyderabad is bracing ahead itself, and I want everyone to come and see and participate and enjoy how the AI is going to shape up in India for society.
సో బేసిక్గా మనము రేపు బిగ్గెస్ట్ AI కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఇన్ ఇండియాకి ప్రిపరేషన్స్ నడుస్తూ ఉంది. చూస్తూ ఉన్నారు కదా, మనము ఒక మోడల్ని తయారు చేస్తున్నాము. ఇక్కడ మన రైతులు వచ్చేసి మోటార్ని వాళ్ళ వాయిస్తో ఆన్ చేస్తారు. సో అదొక యాక్షన్. కిరణ్ చంద్ర గారు మనకి గైడ్ చేస్తున్నారు మొత్తం టీమ్ని అంతా ఎలా చేయాలా. డ్రై రన్ ఒకసారి చేసుకుంటే LED స్క్రీన్స్ అన్నీ కూడా సెటప్ అయిపోయినాయి. మొత్తానికి చాలా బాగా వచ్చింది అంతా. ఆల్మోస్ట్ 1000 మందిని ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నాం రేపు మనం. సో ఇవంతా మనం మేనేజ్ చేసేసి రేపు సక్సెస్ అవ్వాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాం.
My name is Amulya Gandhi. I am from JNTU-Hyderabad, studying from Cloud Computing and Big Data branch. Basically, రేపు AI days eventకి tech support లాగా వాలంటీర్ చేస్తున్నా. Very nervous and excited.
So we are here as volunteers. రేపు అయ్యే వర్క్షాప్స్లో వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు help them by technically. My branch is CCB, Cloud Computing and Big Data. Actually, as a volunteers, we are first time here in Swecha. We are so excited to teach them, as well as we are also seeking to learn something new and creative.
ఏంటంటే AI అంటే మనమే చెప్తున్నాం, డిఫైన్ చేస్తున్నాం లిటరలీ. ఎందుకంటే AI అంటే చాలా ఏదో బ్రహ్మ పదార్థంలాగా, AI అంటే మన వల్ల అవుతుందా, అసలు AI అంటే ఏంటి, చాలామందికి కన్ఫ్యూజన్లు ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఉన్నాయి. I think this particular conference is the beginning where we are going to set an example, and only పెద్ద కార్పొరేట్ కంపెనీలనే కాదు, గూగుల్, మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ వాళ్ళే బిల్డ్ చేయడం అని కాదు, మనలాంటి సామాన్య ప్రజలు కూడా మన కోసం. అబ్దుల్ కలాం గారు వెన్ హీ వాజ్ ఎ ప్రెసిడెంట్, అబ్దుల్ కలాం గారు చెప్పారు ఏంటంటే ఒక కాన్ఫరెన్స్లో 2005లో, పీపుల్ క్రియేట్ నాలెడ్జ్ ఫర్ పీపుల్. ఐ థింక్ దట్ ఈస్ really successful, and that is happening every day, and we are creating knowledge for people again back. I think as we are in AI era, we are creating localized AI and democratizing the technology to make it accessible to the people.
Awesome 2 days. AI Days 2024. If you're not here, you're missing something great. All of you be here without fail.
I'm happy to be here because the AI 2024 is one of the biggest conference on artificial intelligence. Since it's going to invite, or rather participations are coming from academicians, students, researchers, and also from industry, it's going to be a good gathering, and I'm sure 70 speakers from different cross-section of areas, I think they'll definitely provide a lot of information to all of us. Be here, make it a big success.
నేను ఒక ఐటీ ఎంప్లాయీ అండి. నేను ఐటీ కంపెనీలో పనిచేస్తూనే స్వేచ్ఛలో కూడా ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ కమిటీ మెంబర్ని, వన్ ఆఫ్ ద మెయిన్ ఆర్గనైజర్స్ అనమాట. సో బేసిక్గా రేపు పెద్ద ఎత్తున జరిగే ఈ AI డేస్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఏదైతే ఉందో, ఈ 2 రోజులకు సంబంధించిన వర్క్స్, ప్రిపరేటరీ వర్క్స్ అన్నీ చేయడానికి వాలంటీర్స్ సుమారు 150 పైన వాలంటీర్స్ వచ్చారు, యాక్చువల్ స్టూడెంట్ వాలంటీర్స్. దాంతోపాటు మనకి మన ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ కమిటీ మెంబర్స్ అవ్వచ్చు, డిఫరెంట్ కంపెనీ హెడ్స్ అవ్వచ్చు, వీళ్ళందరూ కూడా వచ్చి దీనిలో భాగస్వాములు అయ్యి వాళ్ళందరూ కూడా రేపు జరగబోయే ప్యానల్ డిస్కషన్స్, ట్రాక్స్ ఎట్లా సెట్ చేసుకోవాలి ఏంటి ఇవన్నీ కూడా చూసుకుంటున్నారు. సో ఇది భారతదేశంలోనే బిగ్గెస్ట్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ కాబట్టి సో పెద్ద ఎత్తున ప్రిపరేషన్స్ అయితే జరుగుతున్నాయి. అందరూ జాయిన్ అవ్వాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాము.
So this is the location where we will be holding our conference, and this is going to the main auditorium. The JNTU-Hyderabad auditorium at the JNTU is getting ready for the largest ever AI conference in India. And I think there is a series of luminaries who would be coming, and there are close to 70 speakers, 60 sessions, and hundreds of people who would be attending it. And it ranges from CEOs to CXOs to researchers, academia, IT professionals and students. So from 101 sessions to a deep dive into AI, Hyderabad is pacing ahead itself, bracing ahead itself, and I want everyone to come and see and participate and enjoy how the AI is going to shape up in India for society.
సో బేసిక్గా మనము రేపు బిగ్గెస్ట్ AI కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఇన్ ఇండియాకి ప్రిపరేషన్స్ నడుస్తూ ఉంది. చూస్తూ ఉన్నారు కదా, మనము మా ఒక మోడల్ని తయారు చేస్తున్నాము. ఇక్కడ మన రైతులు వచ్చేసి మోటార్ని వాళ్ళ వాయిస్తో ఆన్ చేస్తారు. సో అదొక యాక్షన్. కిరణ్ చంద్ర గారు మనకి గైడ్ చేస్తున్నారు మొత్తం టీమ్ని అంతా ఎలా చేయాలా. డ్రై రన్ ఒకసారి చేసుకుంటే LED స్క్రీన్స్ అన్నీ కూడా సెటప్ అయిపోయినాయి. మొత్తానికి చాలా బాగా వచ్చింది అంతా. ఆల్మోస్ట్ 1000 మందిని ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నాం రేపు మనం. సో ఇవంతా మనం మేనేజ్ చేసేసి రేపు సక్సెస్ అవ్వాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాం.
My name is Amulya Gandhi. I am from JNTU-Hyderabad, studying from Cloud Computing and Big Data branch. Basically, రేపు AI days eventకి tech support లాగా volunteer చేస్తున్నా. Very nervous and excited.
So we are here as volunteers. రేపు IA workshops-లో we are going to help them by technically. Yeah, my branch is CCB, Cloud Computing and Big Data. Actually, as a volunteers, we are first time here in Swecha. we are so excited to teach them, as well as we are also seeking to learn something new and creative.
ఏంటంటే ఏఐ అంటే మనమే చెప్తున్నాం, డిఫైన్ చేస్తున్నాం లిటరలీ. ఎందుకంటే ఏఐ అంటే చాలా ఏదో బ్రహ్మ పదార్థంలాగా, ఏఐ అంటే మన వల్ల అవుతుందా, అసలు ఏఐ అంటే ఏంటి, చాలామందికి కన్ఫ్యూజన్లు ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఉన్నాయి. I think this particular conference is the beginning where we are going to set an example, and only పెద్ద పెద్ద కార్పొరేట్ కంపెనీలనే కాదు, గూగుల్, మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ వాళ్ళే బిల్డ్ చేయటం అని కాదు, మనలాంటి సామాన్య ప్రజలు కూడా మన కోసం. అబ్దుల్ కలాం గారు వెన్ హీ వాజ్ ఎ ప్రెసిడెంట్, అబ్దుల్ కలాం గారు చెప్పారు ఏంటంటే ఒక కాన్ఫరెన్స్లో 2005లో, పీపుల్ క్రియేట్ నాలెడ్జ్ ఫర్ పీపుల్. ఐ థింక్ దట్ ఈస్ really successful, and that is happening every day, and we are creating knowledge for people again back. I think as we are in AI era, we are creating localized AI and democratizing the technology to make it accessible to the people.
Awesome 2 days. AI Days 2024. If you're not here, you're missing something great. All of you be here without fail.
I'm happy to be here because the AI 2024 is one of the biggest conference on artificial intelligence. Since it's going to invite, or rather participations are coming from academicians, students, researchers, and also from industry, it's going to be a good gathering, and I'm sure 70 speakers from different cross-section of areas, I think they'll definitely provide lot of information to all of us. Be here, make it a big success.
నేను ఒక ఐటీ ఎంప్లాయీ అండి. నేను ఐటీ కంపెనీలో పనిచేస్తూనే స్వేచ్ఛలో కూడా ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ కమిటీ మెంబర్ని, వన్ ఆఫ్ ద మెయిన్ ఆర్గనైజర్స్ అనమాట. సో బేసిక్గా రేపు పెద్ద ఎత్తున జరిగే ఈ AI Days కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఏదైతే ఉందో, ఈ 2 రోజులకు సంబంధించిన వర్క్స్, ప్రిపరేటరీ వర్క్స్ అన్నీ చేయడానికి వాలంటీర్స్ సుమారు 150 పైన వాలంటీర్స్ వచ్చారు, యాక్చువల్ స్టూడెంట్ వాలంటీర్స్. దాంతోపాటు మన ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ కమిటీ మెంబర్స్ అవ్వచ్చు, డిఫరెంట్ కంపెనీ హెడ్స్ అవ్వచ్చు, వీళ్ళందరూ కూడా వచ్చి దీనిలో భాగస్వాములు అయ్యి వాళ్ళందరూ కూడా రేపు జరగబోయే ప్యానల్ డిస్కషన్స్, ట్రాక్స్ ఎట్లా సెట్ చేసుకోవాలి ఏంటి ఇవన్నీ కూడా చూసుకుంటున్నారు. సో ఇది భారతదేశంలోనే బిగ్గెస్ట్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ కాబట్టి సో పెద్ద ఎత్తున ప్రిపరేషన్స్ అయితే జరుగుతున్నాయి. అందరూ జాయిన్ అవ్వాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాము.
So this is the location where we will be holding our conference, and this is going to the main auditorium, the JNTU-Hyderabad.Auditorium at the JNTU is getting ready for the largest ever AI conference in India. And I think there is a series of luminaries who would be coming, and there are close to 70 speakers, 60 sessions, and hundreds of people who would be attending it. and it ranges from CEOs to CXOs to researchers, academia, IT professionals and students. So from 101 sessions to a deep dive into AI, Hyderabad is pacing ahead itself, bracing ahead itself, and I want everyone to come and see and participate and enjoy how the AI is going to shape up in India for society.
సో బేసిక్గా మనము రేపు బిగ్గెస్ట్ ఏఐ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఇన్ ఇండియాకి ప్రిపరేషన్స్ నడుస్తూ ఉంది. చూస్తూ ఉన్నారు కదా, మనము మా ఒక మోడల్ని తయారు చేస్తున్నాము. ఇక్కడ మన రైతులు వచ్చేసి మోటార్ని వాళ్ళ వాయిస్తో ఆన్ చేస్తారు. సో అదొక యాక్షన్. కిరణ్ చంద్ర గారు మనకి గైడ్ చేస్తున్నారు మొత్తం టీమ్ని అంతా ఎలా చేయాలా. డ్రై రన్ ఒకసారి చేసుకుంటే ఎల్ఈడి స్క్రీన్స్ అన్నీ కూడా సెటప్ అయిపోయినాయి. మొత్తానికి చాలా బాగా వచ్చింది అంతా. ఆల్మోస్ట్ 1000 మందిని ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నాం రేపు మనం. సో ఇవంతా మనం మేనేజ్ చేసేసి రేపు సక్సెస్ అవ్వాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాం.
My name is Amulya Gandhi. I am from JNTU-Hyderabad, studying from Cloud Computing and Big Data branch. Basically, రేపు AI Days eventకి టెక్ సపోర్ట్ లాగా వాలంటీర్ చేస్తున్నా. Very nervous and excited.
So we are here as volunteers. రేపు అయ్యే వర్క్షాప్స్లో వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు హెల్ప్ దెమ్ బై టెక్నికలీ. My branch is CCB, Cloud Computing and Big Data. Actually, as a volunteers, we are first time here in Swecha. We are so excited to teach them as well as we are also seeking to learn something new and creative.
ఏంటంటే ఏఐ అంటే మనమే చెప్తున్నాం, డిఫైన్ చేస్తున్నాం లిటరలీ. ఎందుకంటే ఏఐ అంటే చాలా ఏదో బ్రహ్మ పదార్థంలాగా, ఏఐ అంటే మన వల్ల అవుతుందా, అసలు ఏఐ అంటే ఏంటి, చాలామందికి కన్ఫ్యూజన్లు ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఉన్నాయి. ఐ థింక్ దిస్ పర్టికులర్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఇస్ ద బిగినింగ్ వేర్ వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు సెట్ అన్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్. అండ్ ఓన్లీ పెద్ద పెద్ద కార్పొరేట్ కంపెనీలనే కాదు, గూగుల్, మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ వాళ్ళే బిల్డ్ చేయడం అని కాదు, మనలాంటి సామాన్య ప్రజలు కూడా మన కోసం అబ్దుల్ కలాం గారు వెన్ హీ వాజ్ ఎ ప్రెసిడెంట్, అబ్దుల్ కలాం గారు చెప్పారు ఏంటంటే ఒక కాన్ఫరెన్స్లో 2005లో, పీపుల్ క్రియేట్ నాలెడ్జ్ ఫర్ పీపుల్. ఐ థింక్ దట్ ఈస్ really successful and that is happening every day and we are creating knowledge for people again back. I think as we are in AI era, we are creating localized AI and democratizing the technology to make it accessible to the people.
Awesome 2 days. AI Days 2024. If you're not here, you're missing something great. All of you be here without fail.
I'm happy to be here because the AI 2024 is one of the biggest conference on artificial intelligence. Since it's going to invite or other participations are coming from academicians, students, researchers and also from industry, it's going to be a good gathering and I'm sure 70 speakers from different cross-section of areas. I think they'll definitely provide lot of information to all of us. Be here, make it a big success.
నేను ఒక ఐటీ ఎంప్లాయీ అండి. నేను ఐటీ కంపెనీలో పనిచేస్తూనే స్వేచ్ఛలో కూడా ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ కమిటీ మెంబర్ని. వన్ ఆఫ్ ద మెయిన్ ఆర్గనైజర్స్ అనమాట. సో బేసిక్గా రేపు పెద్ద ఎత్తున జరిగే ఈ AI డేస్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఏదైతే ఉందో ఈ 2 రోజులకు సంబంధించిన ప్రిపరేటరీ వర్క్స్ అన్నీ చేయడానికి వాలంటీర్స్ సుమారు 150 పైన వాలంటీర్స్ వచ్చారు. యాక్చువల్ స్టూడెంట్ వాలంటీర్స్. దాంతోపాటు మన ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ కమిటీ మెంబర్స్ అవ్వచ్చు, డిఫరెంట్ కంపెనీ హెడ్స్ అవ్వచ్చు, వీళ్ళందరూ కూడా వచ్చి దీనిలో భాగస్వాములు అయ్యి వాళ్ళందరూ కూడా రేపు జరగబోయే ప్యానల్ డిస్కషన్స్, ట్రాక్స్ ఎట్లా సెట్ చేసుకోవాలి ఏంటి ఇవన్నీ కూడా చూసుకుంటున్నారు. సో ఇది భారతదేశంలోనే బిగ్గెస్ట్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ కాబట్టి సో పెద్ద ఎత్తున ప్రిపరేషన్స్ అయితే జరుగుతున్నాయి. అందరూ జాయిన్ అవ్వాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాము.
So this is the location where we would be holding our conference, and this is going to the main auditorium. The JNTU-Hyderabad.Auditorium at the JNTU is getting ready for the largest ever AI conference in India. And I think there is a series of luminaries who would be coming, and there are close to 70 speakers, 60 sessions, and hundreds of people who would be attending it. And it ranges from CEOs to CXOs to researchers, academia, IT professionals and students. So from 101 sessions to a deep dive into AI, Hyderabad is pacing ahead itself, bracing ahead itself, and I want everyone to come and see and participate and enjoy how the AI is going to shape up in India for society.
సో బేసిక్గా మనము రేపు బిగ్గెస్ట్ AI కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఇన్ ఇండియాకి ప్రిపరేషన్స్ నడుస్తూ ఉంది. చూస్తూ ఉన్నారు కదా, మనము ఒక మోడల్ని తయారు చేస్తున్నాము. ఇక్కడ మన రైతులు వచ్చేసి మోటార్ని వాళ్ళ వాయిస్తో ఆన్ చేస్తారు. సో అదొక యాక్షన్. కిరణ్ చంద్ర గారు మనకి గైడ్ చేస్తున్నారు మొత్తం టీమ్నంతా ఎలా చేయాలా. డ్రై రన్ ఒకసారి చేసుకుంటే LED స్క్రీన్స్ అన్నీ కూడా సెటప్ అయిపోయినాయి మొత్తానికి. చాలా బాగా వచ్చింది అంతా. ఆల్మోస్ట్ 1000 మందిని ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నాం రేపు మనం. సో ఇవంతా మనం మేనేజ్ చేసేసి రేపు సక్సెస్ అవ్వాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాం.
My name is Amulya Gandhi. I am from JNTU-Hyderabad, studying from Cloud Computing and Big Data branch. Basically, రేపు AI days event ki tech support laga volunteer chestuna. Very nervous and excited.
So we are here as volunteers. రేపు అయ్యే వర్క్షాప్స్లో వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు help them by technically. My branch is CCB, Cloud Computing and Big Data. Actually, as a volunteers, we are first time here in Swecha. We are so excited to teach them, as well as we are also seeking to learn something new and creative.
ఏంటంటే AI అంటే మనమే చెప్తున్నాం, డిఫైన్ చేస్తున్నాం లిటరలీ. ఎందుకంటే AI అంటే చాలా ఏదో బ్రహ్మ పదార్థంలాగా, AI అంటే మన వల్ల అవుతుందా, అసలు AI అంటే ఏంటి, చాలామందికి కన్ఫ్యూజన్లు ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఉన్నాయి. ఐ థింక్ దిస్ పర్టికులర్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఇస్ ద బిగినింగ్ వేర్ వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు సెట్ అన్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్. అండ్ ఓన్లీ పెద్ద పెద్ద కార్పొరేట్ కంపెనీలనే కాదు, గూగుల్, మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ వాళ్ళే బిల్డ్ చేయడం అని కాదు, మనలాంటి సామాన్య ప్రజలు కూడా మన కోసం అబ్దుల్ కలాం గారు వెన్ హీ వాజ్ ఎ ప్రెసిడెంట్, అబ్దుల్ కలాం గారు చెప్పారు ఏంటంటే ఒక కాన్ఫరెన్స్లో 2005లో, పీపుల్ క్రియేట్ నాలెడ్జ్ ఫర్ పీపుల్. ఐ థింక్ దట్ ఈస్ really successful, and that is happening every day, and we are creating knowledge for people again back. I think as we are in AI era, we are creating localized AI and democratizing the technology to make it accessible to the people.
Awesome 2 days. AI Days 2024. If you're not here, you're missing something great. All of you be here without fail.
I'm happy to be here because the AI 2024 is one of the biggest conference on artificial intelligence. Since it's going to invite, or rather participations are coming from academicians, students, researchers, and also from industry, it's going to be a good gathering, and I'm sure 70 speakers from different cross-section of areas, I think they'll definitely provide a lot of information to all of us. Be here, make it a big success.
నేను ఒక ఐటీ ఎంప్లాయీ అండి. నేను ఐటీ కంపెనీలో పనిచేస్తూనే స్వేచ్ఛలో కూడా ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ కమిటీ మెంబర్ని, వన్ ఆఫ్ ద మెయిన్ ఆర్గనైజర్స్ అనమాట. సో బేసిక్గా రేపు పెద్ద ఎత్తున జరిగే ఈ AI డేస్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఏదైతే ఉందో, ఈ 2 రోజులకు సంబంధించిన వర్క్స్, ప్రిపరేటరీ వర్క్స్ అన్నీ చేయడానికి వాలంటీర్స్ సుమారు 150 పైన వాలంటీర్స్ వచ్చారు, యాక్చువల్ స్టూడెంట్ వాలంటీర్స్. దాంతోపాటు మనకి మన ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ కమిటీ మెంబర్స్ అవ్వచ్చు, డిఫరెంట్ కంపెనీ హెడ్స్ అవ్వచ్చు, వీళ్ళందరూ కూడా వచ్చి దీనిలో భాగస్వాములు అయ్యి వాళ్ళందరూ కూడా రేపు జరగబోయే ప్యానల్ డిస్కషన్స్, ట్రాక్స్ ఎట్లా సెట్ చేసుకోవాలి ఏంటి ఇవన్నీ కూడా చూసుకుంటున్నారు. సో ఇది భారతదేశంలోనే బిగ్గెస్ట్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ కాబట్టి సో పెద్ద ఎత్తున ప్రిపరేషన్స్ అయితే జరుగుతున్నాయి. అందరూ జాయిన్ అవ్వాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాము.
So this is the location where we will be holding our conference, and this is going to the main auditorium. The JNTU-Hyderabad auditorium at the JNTU is getting ready for the largest ever AI conference in India. And I think there is a series of luminaries who would be coming, and there are close to 70 speakers, 60 sessions, and hundreds of people who would be attending it. And it ranges from CEOs to CXOs to researchers, academia, IT professionals and students. So from 101 sessions to a deep dive into AI, Hyderabad is pacing ahead itself, bracing ahead itself, and I want everyone to come and see and participate and enjoy how the AI is going to shape up in India for society.
సో బేసిక్గా మనము రేపు బిగ్గెస్ట్ AI కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఇన్ ఇండియాకి ప్రిపరేషన్స్ నడుస్తూ ఉంది. చూస్తూ ఉన్నారు కదా, మనము మా ఒక మోడల్ని తయారు చేస్తున్నాము. ఇక్కడ మన రైతులు వచ్చేసి మోటార్ని వాళ్ళ వాయిస్తో ఆన్ చేస్తారు. సో అదొక యాక్షన్. కిరణ్ చంద్ర గారు మనకి గైడ్ చేస్తున్నారు మొత్తం టీమ్ని అంతా ఎలా చేయాలా. డ్రై రన్ ఒకసారి చేసుకుంటే LED స్క్రీన్స్ అన్నీ కూడా సెటప్ అయిపోయినాయి. మొత్తానికి చాలా బాగా వచ్చింది అంతా. ఆల్మోస్ట్ 1000 మందిని ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నాం రేపు మనం. సో ఇవంతా మనం మేనేజ్ చేసేసి రేపు సక్సెస్ అవ్వాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాం.
My name is Amulya Gandhi. I am from JNTU-Hyderabad.Experts, studying from Cloud Computing and Big Data branch. Basically, రేపు AI డేస్ ఈవెంట్కి టెక్ సపోర్ట్ లాగా వాలంటీర్ చేస్తున్నా. Very nervous and excited.
So we are here as volunteers. రేపు IA workshops-లో we are going to help them by technically. Yeah, my branch is CCB, Cloud Computing and Big Data. Actually, as a volunteers, we are first time here in Swecha. we are so excited to teach them, as well as we are also seeking to learn something new and creative.
ఏంటంటే ఏఐ అంటే మనమే చెప్తున్నాం, డిఫైన్ చేస్తున్నాం లిటరలీ. ఎందుకంటే ఏఐ అంటే చాలా ఏదో బ్రహ్మ పదార్థంలాగా, ఏఐ అంటే మన వల్ల అవుతుందా, అసలు ఏఐ అంటే ఏంటి, చాలామందికి కన్ఫ్యూజన్లు ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఉన్నాయి. I think this particular conference is the beginning where we are going to set an example, and only పెద్ద పెద్ద కార్పొరేట్ కంపెనీలనే కాదు, గూగుల్, మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ వాళ్ళే బిల్డ్ చేయడం అని కాదు, మనలాంటి సామాన్య ప్రజలు కూడా మన కోసం అబ్దుల్ కలాం గారు వెన్ హీ వాజ్ ఎ ప్రెసిడెంట్, అబ్దుల్ కలాం గారు చెప్పారు ఏంటంటే ఒక కాన్ఫరెన్స్లో 2005లో, పీపుల్ క్రియేట్ నాలెడ్జ్ ఫర్ పీపుల్. ఐ థింక్ దట్ ఈస్ really successful, and that is happening every day, and we are creating knowledge for people again back. I think as we are in AI era, we are creating localized AI and democratizing the technology to make it accessible to the people.
Awesome 2 days. AI Days 2024. If you're not here, you're missing something great. All of you be here without fail.
I'm happy to be here because the AI 2024 is one of the biggest conference on artificial intelligence. Since it's going to invite, or rather participations are coming from academicians, students, researchers, and also from industry, it's going to be a good gathering, and I'm sure 70 speakers from different cross-section of areas, I think they'll definitely provide lot of information to all of us. Be here, make it a big success.
నేను ఒక ఐటీ ఎంప్లాయీ అండి. నేను ఐటీ కంపెనీలో పనిచేస్తూనే స్వేచ్ఛలో కూడా ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ కమిటీ మెంబర్ని, వన్ ఆఫ్ ద మెయిన్ ఆర్గనైజర్స్ అనమాట. సో బేసిక్గా రేపు పెద్ద ఎత్తున జరిగే ఈ AI Days కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఏదైతే ఉందో, ఈ 2 రోజులకు సంబంధించిన వర్క్స్, ప్రిపరేటరీ వర్క్స్ అన్నీ చేయడానికి వాలంటీర్స్ సుమారు 150 పైన వాలంటీర్స్ వచ్చారు, యాక్చువల్ స్టూడెంట్ వాలంటీర్స్. దాంతోపాటు మనకి మన ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ కమిటీ మెంబర్స్ అవ్వచ్చు, డిఫరెంట్ కంపెనీ హెడ్స్ అవ్వచ్చు, వీళ్ళందరూ కూడా వచ్చి దీనిలో భాగస్వాములు అయ్యి వాళ్ళందరూ కూడా రేపు జరగబోయే ప్యానల్ డిస్కషన్స్, ట్రాక్స్ ఎట్లా సెట్ చేసుకోవాలి ఏంటి ఇవన్నీ కూడా చూసుకుంటున్నారు. సో ఇది భారతదేశంలోనే బిగ్గెస్ట్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ కాబట్టి సో పెద్ద ఎత్తున ప్రిపరేషన్స్ అయితే జరుగుతున్నాయి. అందరూ జాయిన్ అవ్వాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాము.
So this is the location where we will be holding our conference, and this is going to the main auditorium. The JNTU-Hyderabad.Auditorium at the JNTU is getting ready for the largest ever AI conference in India. And I think there is a series of luminaries who would be coming, and there are close to 70 speakers, 60 sessions, and hundreds of people who would be attending it. and it ranges from CEOs to CXOs to researchers, academia, IT professionals and students. So from 101 sessions to a deep dive into AI, Hyderabad is pacing ahead itself, bracing ahead itself, and I want everyone to come and see and participate and enjoy how the AI is going to shape up in India for society.
సో బేసిక్గా మనము రేపు బిగ్గెస్ట్ ఏ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఇన్ ఇండియాకి ప్రిపరేషన్స్ నడుస్తూ ఉంది. చూస్తూ ఉన్నారు కదా, మనము మా ఒక మోడల్ని తయారు చేస్తున్నాము. ఇక్కడ మన రైతులు వచ్చేసి మోటార్ని వాళ్ళ వాయిస్తో ఆన్ చేస్తారు. సో అదొక యాక్షన్. కిరణ్ చంద్ర గారు మనకి గైడ్ చేస్తున్నారు మొత్తం టీమ్ని అంతా ఎలా చేయాలా. డ్రై రన్ ఒకసారి చేసుకుంటే ఎల్ఈడి స్క్రీన్స్ అన్నీ కూడా సెటప్ అయిపోయినాయి. మొత్తానికి చాలా బాగా వచ్చింది అంతా. ఆల్మోస్ట్ 1000 మందిని ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నాం రేపు మనం. సో ఇవంతా మనం మేనేజ్ చేసేసి రేపు సక్సెస్ అవ్వాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాం.
My name is Amulya Gandhi. I am from JNTU-Hyderabad, studying from Cloud Computing and Big Data branch. Basically, రేపు AI Days eventకి tech support లాగా volunteer చేస్తున్నా. Very nervous and excited.
So we are here as volunteers. రేపు అయ్యే వర్క్షాప్స్లో we are going to help them by technically. Yeah, my branch is CCB, Cloud Computing and Big Data. Actually, as a volunteers, we are first time here in Swecha. We are so excited to teach them as well as we are also seeking to learn something new and creative.
ఏంటంటే ఏఐ అంటే మనమే చెప్తున్నాం, డిఫైన్ చేస్తున్నాం లిటరలీ. ఎందుకంటే ఏఐ అంటే చాలా ఏదో బ్రహ్మ పదార్థంలాగా, ఏఐ అంటే మన వల్ల అవుతుందా, అసలు ఏఐ అంటే ఏంటి, చాలామందికి కన్ఫ్యూజన్లు ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఉన్నాయి. ఐ థింక్ దిస్ పర్టికులర్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఇస్ ద బిగినింగ్ వేర్ వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు సెట్ అన్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్. అండ్ ఓన్లీ పెద్ద పెద్ద కార్పొరేట్ కంపెనీలనే కాదు, గూగుల్, మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ వాళ్ళే బిల్డ్ చేయటం అని కాదు, మనలాంటి సామాన్య ప్రజలు కూడా మన కోసం. అబ్దుల్ కలాం గారు వెన్ హీ వాజ్ ఎ ప్రెసిడెంట్, అబ్దుల్ కలాం గారు చెప్పారు ఏంటంటే ఒక కాన్ఫరెన్స్లో 2005లో, పీపుల్ క్రియేట్ నాలెడ్జ్ ఫర్ పీపుల్. ఐ థింక్ దట్ ఈస్ రియలీ సక్సెస్ఫుల్ అండ్ that is happening every day, and we are creating knowledge for people again back. I think as we are in AI era, we are creating localized AI and democratizing the technology to make it accessible to the people.
Awesome 2 days, AI Days 2024. If you're not here, you're missing something great. All of you be here without fail.
I'm happy to be here because the AI 2024 is one of the biggest conference on artificial intelligence. Since it's going to invite, or rather participations are coming from academicians, students, researchers and also from industry, it's going to be a good gathering, and I'm sure 70 speakers from different cross-section of areas. I think they'll definitely provide lot of information to all of us. Be here, make it a big success.
నేను ఒక ఐటీ ఎంప్లాయీ అండి. నేను ఐటీ కంపెనీలో పనిచేస్తూనే స్వేచ్ఛలో కూడా ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ కమిటీ మెంబర్ని. వన్ ఆఫ్ ద మెయిన్ ఆర్గనైజర్స్ అనమాట. సో బేసిక్గా రేపు పెద్ద ఎత్తున జరిగే ఈ AI డేస్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఏదైతే ఉందో, ఈ 2 రోజులకు సంబంధించిన వర్క్స్, ప్రిపరేటరీ వర్క్స్ అన్నీ చేయడానికి వాలంటీర్స్ సుమారు 150 పైన వాలంటీర్స్ వచ్చారు. యాక్చువల్ స్టూడెంట్ వాలంటీర్స్. దాంతోపాటు మనకి మన ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ కమిటీ మెంబర్స్ అవ్వచ్చు, డిఫరెంట్ కంపెనీ హెడ్స్ అవ్వచ్చు, వీళ్ళందరూ కూడా వచ్చి దీనిలో భాగస్వాములు అయ్యి వాళ్ళందరూ కూడా రేపు జరగబోయే ప్యానల్ డిస్కషన్స్, ట్రాక్స్ ఎట్లా సెట్ చేసుకోవాలి ఏంటి ఇవన్నీ కూడా చూసుకుంటున్నారు. సో ఇది భారతదేశంలోనే బిగ్గెస్ట్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ కాబట్టి సో పెద్ద ఎత్తున ప్రిపరేషన్స్ అయితే జరుగుతున్నాయి. అందరూ జాయిన్ అవ్వాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాము.
So this is the location where we will be holding our conference, and this is going to the main auditorium. The JNTU-Hyderabad auditorium at the JNTU is getting ready for the largest ever AI conference in India. And I think there is a series of luminaries who would be coming, and there are close to 70 speakers, 60 sessions, and hundreds of people who would be attending it. And it ranges from CEOs to CXOs to researchers, academia, IT professionals and students. So from 101 sessions to a deep dive into AI, Hyderabad is pacing ahead itself, bracing ahead itself, and I want everyone to come and see and participate and enjoy how the AI is going to shape up in India for society.
సో బేసిక్గా మనము రేపు బిగ్గెస్ట్ AI కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఇన్ ఇండియాకి ప్రిపరేషన్స్ నడుస్తూ ఉంది. చూస్తూ ఉన్నారు కదా, మనము ఒక మోడల్ని తయారు చేస్తున్నాము. ఇక్కడ మన రైతులు వచ్చేసి మోటార్ని వాళ్ళ వాయిస్తో ఆన్ చేస్తారు. సో అదొక యాక్షన్. కిరణ్ చంద్ర గారు మనకి గైడ్ చేస్తున్నారు మొత్తం టీమ్ని అంతా ఎలా చేయాలా. డ్రై రన్ ఒకసారి చేసుకుంటే LED స్క్రీన్స్ అన్నీ కూడా సెటప్ అయిపోయినాయి మొత్తానికి. చాలా బాగా వచ్చింది అంతా. ఆల్మోస్ట్ 1000 మందిని ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నాం రేపు మనం. సో ఇవంతా మనం మేనేజ్ చేసేసి రేపు సక్సెస్ అవ్వాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాం.
My name is Amulya Gandhi. I am from JNTU-Hyderabad, studying from Cloud Computing and Big Data branch. Basically, రేపు AI days eventకి tech support లాగా వాలంటీర్ చేస్తున్నా. Very nervous and excited.
So we are here as volunteers. రేపు అయ్యే వర్క్షాప్స్లో we are going to help them by technically. Yeah, my branch is CCB, Cloud Computing and Big Data. Actually, as a volunteers, we are first time here in Swecha. We are so excited to teach them, as well as we are also seeking to learn something new and creative.
ఏంటంటే AI అంటే మనమే చెప్తున్నాం, డిఫైన్ చేస్తున్నాం లిటరలీ. ఎందుకంటే AI అంటే చాలా ఏదో బ్రహ్మ పదార్థంలాగా, AI అంటే మన వల్ల అవుతుందా, అసలు AI అంటే ఏంటి, చాలామందికి కన్ఫ్యూజన్లు ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఉన్నాయి. I think this particular conference is the beginning where we are going to set an example, and only పెద్ద కార్పొరేట్ కంపెనీలనే కాదు, గూగుల్, మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ వాళ్ళే బిల్డ్ చేయడం అని కాదు, మనలాంటి సామాన్య ప్రజలు కూడా మన కోసం. అబ్దుల్ కలాం గారు వెన్ హీ వాజ్ ఎ ప్రెసిడెంట్, అబ్దుల్ కలాం గారు చెప్పారు ఏంటంటే ఒక కాన్ఫరెన్స్లో 2005లో, పీపుల్ క్రియేట్ నాలెడ్జ్ ఫర్ పీపుల్. ఐ థింక్ దట్ ఈస్ really successful, and that is happening every day, and we are creating knowledge for people again back. I think as we are in AI era, we are creating localized AI and democratizing the technology to make it accessible to the people.
Awesome 2 days. AI Days 2024. If you're not here, you're missing something great. All of you be here without fail.
I'm happy to be here because the AI 2024 is one of the biggest conference on artificial intelligence. Since it's going to invite, or rather participations are coming from academicians, students, researchers, and also from industry, it's going to be a good gathering, and I'm sure 70 speakers from different cross-section of areas, I think they'll definitely provide lot of information to all of us. Be here, make it a big success.
నేను ఒక ఐటీ ఎంప్లాయీ అండి. నేను ఐటీ కంపెనీలో పనిచేస్తూనే స్వేచ్ఛలో కూడా ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ కమిటీ మెంబర్ని, వన్ ఆఫ్ ద మెయిన్ ఆర్గనైజర్స్ అనమాట. సో బేసిక్గా రేపు పెద్ద ఎత్తున జరిగే ఈ AI డేస్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఏదైతే ఉందో, ఈ 2 రోజులకు సంబంధించిన వర్క్స్, ప్రిపరేటరీ వర్క్స్ అన్నీ చేయడానికి వాలంటీర్స్ సుమారు 150 పైన వాలంటీర్స్ వచ్చారు, యాక్చువల్ స్టూడెంట్ వాలంటీర్స్. దాంతోపాటు మనకి మన ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ కమిటీ మెంబర్స్ అవ్వచ్చు, డిఫరెంట్ కంపెనీ హెడ్స్ అవ్వచ్చు, వీళ్ళందరూ కూడా వచ్చి దీనిలో భాగస్వాములు అయ్యి వాళ్ళందరూ కూడా రేపు జరగబోయే ప్యానల్ డిస్కషన్స్, ట్రాక్స్ ఎట్లా సెట్ చేసుకోవాలి ఏంటి ఇవన్నీ కూడా చూసుకుంటున్నారు. సో ఇది భారతదేశంలోనే బిగ్గెస్ట్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ కాబట్టి సో పెద్ద ఎత్తున ప్రిపరేషన్స్ అయితే జరుగుతున్నాయి. అందరూ జాయిన్ అవ్వాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాము.
So this is the location where we will be holding our conference, and this is going to the main auditorium. The JNTU-Hyderabad auditorium at the JNTU is getting ready for the largest ever AI conference in India. And I think there is a series of luminaries who would be coming, and there are close to 70 speakers, 60 sessions, and hundreds of people who would be attending it. And it ranges from CEOs to CXOs to researchers, academia, IT professionals and students. So from 101 sessions to a deep dive into AI, Hyderabad is pacing ahead itself, bracing ahead itself, and I want everyone to come and see and participate and enjoy how the AI is going to shape up in India for society.
సో బేసిక్గా మనము రేపు బిగ్గెస్ట్ AI కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఇన్ ఇండియాకి ప్రిపరేషన్స్ నడుస్తూ ఉంది. చూస్తూ ఉన్నారు కదా, మనము మా ఒక మోడల్ని తయారు చేస్తున్నాము. ఇక్కడ మన రైతులు వచ్చేసి మోటార్ని వాళ్ళ వాయిస్తో ఆన్ చేస్తారు. సో అదొక యాక్షన్. కిరణ్ చంద్ర గారు మనకి గైడ్ చేస్తున్నారు మొత్తం టీమ్ని అంతా ఎలా చేయాలా. డ్రై రన్ ఒకసారి చేసుకుంటే LED స్క్రీన్స్ అన్నీ కూడా సెటప్ అయిపోయినాయి. మొత్తానికి చాలా బాగా వచ్చింది అంతా. ఆల్మోస్ట్ 1000 మందిని ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నాం రేపు మనం. సో ఇవంతా మనం మేనేజ్ చేసేసి రేపు సక్సెస్ అవ్వాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాం.
My name is Amulya Gandhi. I am from JNTU-Hyderabad.Experts, studying from Cloud Computing and Big Data branch. Basically, రేపు AI డేస్ ఈవెంట్కి టెక్ సపోర్ట్ లాగా వాలంటీర్ చేస్తున్నా. వెరీ నర్వస్ అండ్ ఎక్సైటెడ్.
స్వేచ్ఛలో కూడా ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ కమిటీ మెంబర్ని, వన్ ఆఫ్ ద మెయిన్ ఆర్గనైజర్స్ అనమాట. సో బేసిక్గా రేపు పెద్ద ఎత్తున జరిగే ఈ AI డేస్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఏదైతే ఉందో, ఈ 2 రోజులకు సంబంధించిన వర్క్స్, ప్రిపరేటరీ వర్క్స్ అన్నీ చేయడానికి వాలంటీర్స్ సుమారు 150 పైన వాలంటీర్స్ వచ్చారు, యాక్చువల్ స్టూడెంట్ వాలంటీర్స్. దాంతోపాటు మనకి మన ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ కమిటీ మెంబర్స్ అవ్వచ్చు, డిఫరెంట్ కంపెనీ హెడ్స్ అవ్వచ్చు, వీళ్ళందరూ కూడా వచ్చి దీనిలో భాగస్వాములు అయ్యి వాళ్ళందరూ కూడా రేపు జరగబోయే ప్యానల్ డిస్కషన్స్, ట్రాక్స్ ఎట్లా సెట్ చేసుకోవాలి ఏంటి ఇవన్నీ కూడా చూసుకుంటున్నారు. సో ఇది భారతదేశంలోనే బిగ్గెస్ట్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ కాబట్టి సో పెద్ద ఎత్తున ప్రిపరేషన్స్ అయితే జరుగుతున్నాయి. అందరూ జాయిన్ అవ్వాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాము.
So this is the location where we will be holding our conference, and this is going to the main auditorium. The Jawaharlal Auditorium at the JNTU is getting ready for the largest ever AI conference in India. And I think there is a series of luminaries who would be coming, and there are close to 70 speakers, 60 sessions, and hundreds of people who would be attending it. And it ranges from CEOs to CXOs to researchers, academia, IT professionals and students. So from 101 sessions to a deep dive into AI, Hyderabad is pacing ahead itself, bracing ahead itself, and I want everyone to come and see and participate and enjoy how the AI is going to shape up in India for society.
సో బేసిక్గా మనము రేపు బిగ్గెస్ట్ ఏఐ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఇన్ ఇండియాకి ప్రిపరేషన్స్ నడుస్తూ ఉంది. చూస్తూ ఉన్నారు కదా, మనము మా ఒక మోడల్ని తయారు చేస్తున్నాము. ఇక్కడ మన రైతులు వచ్చేసి మోటార్ని వాళ్ళ వాయిస్తో ఆన్ చేస్తారు. సో అదొక యాక్షన్. కిరణ్ చంద్ర గారు మనకి గైడ్ చేస్తున్నారు మొత్తం టీమ్ని అంతా ఎలా చేయాలా. డ్రై రన్ ఒకసారి చేసుకుంటే ఎల్ఈడి స్క్రీన్స్ అన్నీ కూడా సెటప్ అయిపోయినాయి. మొత్తానికి చాలా బాగా వచ్చింది అంతా. ఆల్మోస్ట్ 1000 మందిని ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నాం రేపు మనం. సో ఇవంతా మనం మేనేజ్ చేసేసి రేపు సక్సెస్ అవ్వాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాం.
My name is Amulya Gandhi. I am from JNTU-Hyderabad, studying from Cloud Computing and Big Data branch. Basically, రేపు AI Days eventకి tech support లాగా వాలంటీర్ చేస్తున్నా. Very nervous and excited.
So we are here as volunteers. రేపు అయ్యే వర్క్షాప్స్లో వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు help them by technically. Yeah, my branch is CCB, Cloud Computing and Big Data. Actually, as a volunteers, we are first time here in Swecha. We are so excited to teach them, as well as we are also seeking to learn something new and creative.
ఏంటంటే ఏఐ అంటే మనమే చెప్తున్నాం, డిఫైన్ చేస్తున్నాం లిటరలీ. ఎందుకంటే ఏఐ అంటే చాలా ఏదో బ్రహ్మ పదార్థంలాగా ఏఐ అంటే మన వల్ల అవుతుందా.
Misrepresentations on the very understanding of the AI itself. AI is being vilified, construed as an enemy of work, or maybe it says that people are going to be rendered unemployed, etc., etc., etc. But the stage in which we have evolved into, AI becomes inevitable to solve the problems which people are facing. One important aspect is that it is through AI, a product that we're going to release in this conference, that a Telugu language assistant, calling it as a language assistant is basically might decrease the effectiveness of the solution that we have made. But essentially, any farmer, any agricultural labor, or anyone who doesn't even know to read or write will be able to figure out, search anything that is available on the internet. He could ask anything on this AI assistant, and AI assistant